4 innings pitch, 6 hits. The 5 earned runs, he did strike out 6, but he threw 96 pitches over those 4 innings. But how about since then? That happened back on April 26. James Paxton has been a much different guy. 3-0 record in those 6 starts, a couple of complete games. Look at this 1.64 ERA over that span. That's third best in baseball. And the 146 opponent's batting average, of course, that no-hitter was in there for James Paxton. So that's who's going for the Mariners. As far as who's going for the Rangers, we're going to throw it down to Leslie. Tell us a little bit more about Matt Moore.
Well, guys, Matt Moore was reinstated off the 10-day DL today with that right knee injury, and he's ready to make his return, his 10th start with the Rangers so far this season, because this year has been a little bit rough for Matt, who is 1-5 with a 7.99 ERA, but he's had some good numbers against Seattle in his career, as you can see there. Yesterday, he told us that he's, quote, a work in progress, saying the results haven't been there, but he is focused tonight on working through the catcher and not falling off the third base line as much. Jeff Bannister told me that despite him coming off the DL, they aren't monitoring him or lowering his pitch count at all, but the thing that they really want from Matt is for him to be efficient. Austin Bibbins-Dirks went over 60 pitches in those first 2 innings last night. Bannister said that is really stressful on a pitcher. They're hoping that Matt can go a little bit farther into the game tonight. All right, well, we've got more coming your way. First pitch is just around the corner from here in Seattle. Series is tied at 1 as the Rangers take on the Mariners in Game 3 next.
By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer.
Well, set to go tonight is James Paxton. Takes those Mariners out onto the field, and let's take a look at the starting lineup tonight for the Texas Rangers. 23 and 34. Delino DeShields will lead it off in center field. Shin-Soo Choo bats second as the DH. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third, batting third. Then it's Mazzara, Profar, and Joey Gallo in the middle of things. Chirinos catches, Guzman at first, and Hanser Alberto gets to start at second base, batting ninth.
A little fun there between Steve Buechele and Delino DeShields. Well, this Ranger lineup will be going up against James Paxton. Big Maple, they call him here in Seattle, the Canadian left-hander with the good fastball, and he throws that four-seam fastball 64 80% of the time. You'll see the curveball and the cutter as part of those secondary offerings. But check out that note, 95.4 miles per hour. That is the average fastball velocity for Paxton. That is the highest among left-handed starters in the game. Now behind Paxton this evening for the Mariners and their defense, Denard Spanned. It's only one of them. Heredia and Mitch Haniger will be in right, and in the infield, it's Kyle Seager, Gene Segura, Gordon Beckham, Ryan Healy, and Mike Zunino behind the plate. And one quick roster move for the Mariners right prior to the game. Kind of a late situation here, but they have put their backup catcher, Herman, on the DL. And Freitas was activated. He was already here, actually. I think it was yesterday that he was here. We're kind of waiting it out to see what would happen. So a last-second roster move, but does not affect the starting line.
Okay, so we are set to go. Rangers trying to follow up a great effort yesterday, winning the ball game 9-5. No doubt after many of you were tucked safely and snugly in bed. As Delano DeShields, including you, CJ,
that is incorrect,
takes low for ball one.
Well, think about how difficult it would be, right? You are relaxing, watching the Ranger game in bed. You can't go to sleep. Tie game late. No. Rugnetto doors up, bases loaded. One of the best right-handed closers in the game, and didn't matter.
That was fantastic finish to the ball game. Rangers really kind of shocking everybody with that comeback win again yesterday. 63 degrees at game time tonight, just a little bit warmer than it has been the first two evenings as Paxton gets his first strike, and it's 2-1 to Delano. Corners are in. Worried that DeShields might try to bunt his way on, and now with the count 3-1, they will back up a little bit. Big left-hander uncoils, and that one is high, ball four. So a walk to put DeShields on to start this ball game.
It's one thing you don't see very often from James Paxton. 2.6 per nine walk rate for him. That's elite level. He's done an excellent job to go along with an unbelievable strikeout rate of 11.6 per nine. We showed you the fastball velocity, best among left-handed starters. He's got a big one, and he has been very good, and we showed it in our open as far as how good he has been since the last time he faced the Rangers on April 22nd. Or 21st, actually.
Chu, a soft liner caught by Segura. One away. And Segura positioned pretty well for that one. That brings up Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And how about this one? Kiner-Falefa with a couple of 4-hit games already this year. Last night, Ronald Guzman chipped in with one for the Rangers. That gives Texas 3 such games by rookies this year. Before we even get into June, only the Angels of 2000, who had 4, have been better in that span as Kiner-Falefa takes a strike.
There's been some really nice moments for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, for Ronald Guzman chipping in big spots, and certainly this handful of 4-hit games were big nights for them. But I gotta tell you, the defense is really what has been sticking out, maybe more than anything. There have been some big hits and some big nights offensively, but both of these guys playing corner positions, first base and third base, have really shown up in the highlight reel quite a bit this year.
A little bit low, 2-1 to Kiner-Falefa. He's hit safely now in 7 of his last 8 games. Yesterday, a 2-for-4 night with a walk. Scored a couple runs. Well, he was not the one who had the big 4-hit night last night, and yet it's tough to overshadow his effort. A little pop-up near second. Beckham is there, and there are 2 gone.
A couple jam shots after the leadoff walk, and I kind of wonder a little bit if Gordon Beckham was tempted to let that ball drop. Watch this right here. Gets way in as you see Isaiah trying to fight that off, but he cannot. But if Gordon Beckham let this ball drop, that would have been an easy double play. Throw to first and then get Delano at second, but always that risk a little bit to allow that to happen.
Yeah, well, because the thing is that you know, it hangs up there just long enough that if Kiner-Falefa runs out of the box, then he's going to beat it out. So now with 2 away, here is Nomar Mazar. And Nomar he had a good night last night. 2 for 4, couple of doubles, was hit by a pitch. Though he is not a rookie, not even close. He is as young as the rookies on this team at 23 years old. And he takes a strike to count 0-2. So a leadoff walk. DeShields has stayed put despite his real good speed. And a tall left-hander now checks in on him. Carolina with 10 steals this year and 12 tries.
Kind of surprising for a left-hander, James Paxton. No pickoffs this year and just one in his entire career.
0-2. Skips up there. Good job by Zunino to corral it. Well, Paxton, 29 years old. It's his 12th start of the season. Originally a 4th round pick in 2010 by Seattle. From Ladner, British Columbia, the Big Maple. There's 1-2 pitch. Way out of play. There's the Maple Grove.
I love that now somehow an eagle has made its way up there. Of course, a little reference to that bald eagle that landed on James Paxton pregame. Where was that? Anaheim? Was it opening day?
Somebody's opening day. Detroit. I'm sure a swing and a miss. And Mazara strikes out. The inning is done. So leadoff walk, but nothing doing for the Rangers in their half of the first. And now Matt Moore out to see what he can do tonight. Moore ready to go to work. Let's take a look at this Mariners lineup now. 33-21, by the way, just a game back of Houston. Segura, Guillermo Heredia, and Mitch Haniger up at the top of the order. Then it's Cruz, Healy, and Seager in the middle. Mike Zunino catching, Denard Span and left. Gordon Beckham, the second baseman, rounds it out. So here's Moore off the DL, a 1-5 record, a 7.99 ERA, and he goes low to Segura for ball 1.
I thought interesting to hear what Leslie was talking about as far as what Matt Moore is working on. Not falling off that third base side. It makes a big difference. Not uncommon for left-handers, and you can fall off that way, but what's important is that you're finishing off your pitches before you start to fall off that way. And if you're spinning off too early, you're certainly going to lose some effectiveness on those pitches.
Segura out to right field, but Mazara is there, one away.
Take a look at the pitch arsenal here for Matt Moore. What he has used so far this season, 53% four-seam fastballs. Those come in at an average of 92 miles an hour. He's got the curveball at 21%. The changeup and the cutter for him this year. As far as batting average against, the curveball has been the best pitch for Matt Moore. 250 opposing hitters have hit off that pitch, but the changeup has been the pitch in which he has gotten the highest whiff rate, the swings and misses. Changeup has come in at 38% swings and misses.
He gets Heredia to break his bat. That thing didn't have a chance.
Take a look at that pitch, and that one got way in there. And for Matt Moore, the four-seam fastball will have some natural cut. He's got the cutter as well that you can use as a left-hander very effectively into right-handed hitters.
That had a weird sound to it, didn't it?
It did.
Almost like it was ceramic or something. One strike pitch. That one down the middle. 0-2.
But you see that pitch right there? So that's the 93-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball. Had he fallen off a little bit, you'll see some unintended cut to that pitch, and it's important that he can keep that pitch on the outside corner when he wants to. So here's what I'm talking about. Watch where Robinson Trinos' glove is, and watch where this ball just sticks right there. Matt Moore does not throw a two-seam fastball. He throws the four-seam fastball only. He's got to be able to have command of that outside part of the plate. If he starts falling off to the third base side, you'll see one of two things. You'll see him miss up and away, usually for a ball, or you'll see that pitch come back over the middle of the plate, which can be a very hittable pitch for right-handed hitters.
And of course, some of that falling away one side or the other might have to do with why he was on the DL in the first place. He was on the disabled list since May 19th with right knee soreness. And outside of his encounter with Tommy John surgery, it caused him to miss basically 2 years of his career. This is the only other time he's been on the DL. 1-2. And it is outside. He told me today I didn't bother him in the clubhouse. I bothered him at the hotel.
Nice.
But he said this was nothing.
Is really what the phrase.
I was hanging out outside of his room. I knew he had to leave eventually. Swing and a miss, and he gets Heredia 2 away.
Well, good job on that changeup. I just mentioned the changeup has been the biggest swing and miss pitch for Matt Moore. This is excellent location down below the zone, and you see Heredia swinging right over the top. So you were saying you were following Matt Moore around town. Finally tracked him down.
Right, and so finally at one point he wanted me to go away, and so he said, "What?" And we were talking about this current stint on the DL, and he said, "It's nothing." He's like, 10 days? Man, this is a breeze. You know, he's never had that experience, so not exactly a grind for him. But he says he feels better, ready to go, and so far, pretty sharp as he gets ahead of Haniger with a strike. He comes right back down the heart of the plate right there. 0-2. But right now, it's not like he's being sneaky or trying to be real clever. He's coming after guys. And Haniger, did he go? He did, and he strikes out swinging. Back-to-back punch-out. So Matt Moore, really nice start to this one. A scoreless bottom of the first. We head to the second inning. And now the second inning, Jerkson Profar, Joey Gallo, and Robinson Chirinos against James Paxton. Now, our Kubota Power stats tonight on James Paxton, who, by the way, comes in 4-1. He has the most incredibly bizarre splits this year in baseball. Maybe in the history of baseball. How about this? Right-handers, he's dominating them to a 149 average and an OPS just above 450. That's best in baseball. Left-handers are slaughtering him. That makes no sense.
It certainly doesn't. Now, the one thing you might say, okay, well, when you see a lefty, he's got the backward splits, is the breaking ball a problem, right? A lot of times for the lefty maybe who doesn't have the big breaking ball or the slider. So, okay, well, that makes a little bit of sense. Well, no, James Paxton's curveball has been very good this year. We showed you in the first inning he uses it 20% of the time, and opposing hitters are hitting just 200 against it.
He gets Profar to fly out to center field, one away. And here comes Joey Gallo. We were both wrong, by the way, on the bald eagle. Wasn't in Anaheim, the one that pregame.
Oakland?
Nope. And it was. I said for some reason I thought maybe it was Detroit. No, it was Minnesota.
Oh. That was wild. And his reaction, I mean, he could not have been more calm in that situation.
Completely unmoved.
Like, I imagine you running away full speed, arms flailing everywhere.
I think that's probably a fair guess. Bouncer down to first, and Healy will feed Paxton. 2 gone. Yeah, here we go. Now this Eagles kind of big. He's like, gosh.
I mean, look at those claws, talons, whatever. That has to hurt. Look at that. Look at those. Look closer. Come on. Look at that. And he tried to grab him right there too. You see that in slow motion? Oh, he tried to do it with his mouth. He's relaxed. He's got his game face on. James Paxton doesn't have time for that.
So now Chirinos, and he takes a fastball for a strike. I don't know that anyone's ever told me, what to do in those situations.
Not much can prepare you for that.
0-2 to Robbie. The big maple, he knew exactly how to handle it. Just be cool. Act like a tree. His fan group out there chanting A. This ball hit well and foul.
It's pretty fantastic cheer too, by the way.
It is.
The signs are awesome. And of course, we had the King's Court. We got to see that. Felix Hernandez. That's a fun crew right there to hang with. Yeah. If you're ever here in Seattle and you happen to get back-to-back starts, spend a little time in each of those sections. You'll have a good time. Oh my.
I'd say a near miss right there, but I'm not so sure.
We saw it, though, also in the first inning. It does appear so far that the high strike is not going to be part of the strike zone, and that wasn't even that high. But
1-2. And that one misses. Yeah, so those hosers out there in the Maple Grove having fun.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, some of them say it differently than others, right?
Yeah.
There's one guy, like he wants somebody's attention. It's like, hey.
Yeah, you can't
guy
start.
back up right in front of the tree, right up there. He's pulling up his sleeves. Watch him when he says, hey. See, look at him. I'm trying to communicate here. Somebody listen to me.
Yeah, he's got a little anger in him. Now it begins with an E, not with an H. It's not hey.
I know.
Hey, he needs to clean that up a little bit.
That Chirinos goes down on strikes. Second strikeout of the night for the Big Maple. We played 1.5 scoreless.
Safeco Field in Seattle. We need to show you the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express. Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields, Nomar Mazara in the outfield this evening. In the infield, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Jurickson Profar, Hanser Alberto, Ronald Guzman, and Robinson Chirinos doing the catching of Matt Moore.
Okay, Moore looked really good in the first inning. Couple of strikeouts. Curveball was working, and now he'll get Nelson Cruz, Ryan Healy, and Kyle Seager. And to a point you were making last inning, that fastball right there, 93, right at the top of the zone. That wasn't even close as far as Chris Siegel is concerned, our plate umpire. He is not giving anything really in that top third, maybe to be fair, maybe the top quarter of the strike zone.
Or fifth. I mean, you can keep going, whatever you think it is. But that matters. That's significant because the one thing that pitchers have, I shouldn't say the one thing, but a thing that pitchers have going for them in this launch angle revolution and guys hitting the ball in the air more is your ability to elevate that fastball. That is a great way to counteract that if you can get it up there, especially near the top or even above the strike zone. But for hitters, you pick up on that right away. You kind of check the tendency of the strike zone of what your home plate umpire is calling, and if that stays consistent and that pitch near the top is not getting called, well, you can go ahead and let that pitch go and force the pitcher to come down in the zone.
This one popped foul back our direction. So Cruz leading off the inning here. He was 2 for 4 with a home run in yesterday's game, also hit by a pitch. And he shoots this one the other way, foul. In fact, Cruz now has homered in 2 of the last 4 games. So Mariners fans looking on and thinking, well, maybe he is about to get hot again for them. He's never had a hit off of Moore, though, and hits this one sharply up the middle, base hit. There you go. First time for everything. He's now 1 for 9 in his career against Matt.
Well, this was a lengthy at-bat, and ultimately Nelson Cruz got himself a fastball up. He had offered at some fastballs up in the zone, was fouling them off earlier, and then finally gets a hold of one there in the 7th pitch of the at-bat for his first ever hit off of Matt Moore.
So first base run of the night for Seattle, and here is Ryan Healy. Healy also 2 for 4 yesterday, drove in a run, did strike out a couple of times. And he takes strike 1.
A respectable ground ball rate for Matt Moore. It's slightly below league average at 40%, but I say that because, again, he doesn't throw the two-seam fastball. And for left-handed pitchers, the two-seam fastball, that ability to run it away from righties, is usually what can induce those ground balls for you. And so he's been able to keep the ball on the ground despite the fact that he doesn't throw the two-seam sinking action fastball.
And here 0-2. Moore's last start was on May 18th in Chicago. Couldn't get out of the 4th inning of that one. 2-strike pitch. Popped up, back our direction. Stays 0-2. In fact, for Moore, his last 2 starts, both of which were on the road, were tough ones. He only went 3 innings in his previous start in Houston. 28 years old. It's his 11th start of the year. And a swing and a miss. Healy tried to stop himself but couldn't. And that is the 3rd strikeout of the night for Moore. Gives us a moment now for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock only at southwestkia.com.
All right, so Moore working that strikeout here early on, and we'll get Kyle Seager, who was hitless yesterday. Seager, in fact, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Saw the lead there of Cruz, not a huge threat to be going anywhere. And the first pitch in there for a strike to the Mariners' 3rd baseman.
Curveball looks good so far here for Matt Moore. He's done a nice job of throwing it below the zone to try to induce those swings and misses. And then you saw the first one there to Kyle Seager for a first pitch strike to get ahead.
High pop up over third and twisting toward the foul line, and Gallo can't quite get to it, and that one bounces up into the seats for an automatic double. And they are at second and third with one out. I'm not so sure Gallo, as he was headed for that one, I think he was maybe a little concerned or confused about how close he might have been to the wall.
Yeah, he was drifting toward that pop-up, and it looked like this thing just kept kind of dying on him and kind of surprised him a little bit where it ultimately landed. And you see the frustration there in the face of Joey Gallo because he knows that was a routine pop-up. Now the wind does appear to be blowing in a little bit. You can see those flags up there in the upper left of your screen, and so got to believe that that little bit of a breeze knocked the ball down more than maybe Joey was expecting. And the way the stadium is, he may not feel that wind where he is at ground level, but why that ball was in the air and above those seats and left, that ball was getting knocked down by the breeze.
Zunino takes high. It's 2-0.
It's a tough break for Matt Moore. You think about the difference right now and what this inning would be. 2 outs, man on first. Instead, it's second and third with 1 out.
Zunino has struggled a little bit, but ahead here 2-0, and now time called. I think Robinson Chirinos wanted that one. Yesterday, Zunino 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, hitless in this series. First time he's ever faced Matt Moore. And a swing, a miss. It's 2-1. Not sure we got into it, but Matt Moore has had a lot of success both against Seattle and specifically in this ballpark. His 2-1, swing and a miss again, and that'll even the count. Moore's last 3 starts against Seattle have all come here at Safeco Field. And in those 3 starts, an earned run average of 2. 4 earned runs in 18 innings. In his career, a 1-1 record, an ERA of 2.03, and that's in 5 starts against the Mariners. And he strikes out Zunino. That is a big strikeout, 4th of the night, and there are 2 away.
It's a great job by Matt Moore elevating the fastball. Zunino could not lay off of it, and Robinson Chirinos was set up a little bit more in, but anything above the hands right here works, and it does. And Matt Moore has thrown the ball extremely well so far. 4 strikeouts now through an inning and 2/3.
So now needs just 1 more out to get out of the inning. Denard Span, 8th place hitter, steps in. And fastball lifted foul, third base side. Kind of Falefa. Boy, he stayed with that one. Couldn't quite get to it. Strike 1 on Span.
Tremendous effort by Isaiah. We talked about it in our open. What great defense he has been playing. I got to tell you off the bat, I thought that was well into the stands. I didn't realize he was even going to have a chance at that. There's a decent amount of foul room here, at least up until you get to the bases or a little bit past at Safeco. Not quite Oakland.
No, not quite. About half the size. 1 strike pitch to Denard Span. And it's wide. Span in his 3rd game now in a Mariners uniform. Yesterday had a real nice night, 2 for 4. A double and a run scored. Cruz at 3rd, Seager at 2nd. And this one fouled away. It's 1-2. Mariners acquired Span along with Alex Colomé in a trade with the Tampa Bay Rays. Sent a couple of pitchers to Tampa Bay, Andrew Moore and Tommy Romero, a couple of minor leaguers. Some cash considerations in that one as well, and a trade that just happened 5 days ago. But it's so early in the season for that kind of a trade between teams. It was a Bit of a shocker. I think a really big one for the Seattle team. 1-2. Span lifts this one out to center field. The Shields was shallow, but has time to get back to it. And the inning is done. So Moore got in a little trouble, but works around it, leaves 2 men in scoring position. And we head to the third.
Seattle in the top of the third. Of course, he's coming off a big night, went 4 for 4 last night. And Jeff Bannister said after that series against Houston just a couple of weeks ago, he came into Bannister's office and wanted to talk to him about the kind of approach he needed to have. Bannister reminded him of the guy he was 2 years ago. He said he was patient, moving the ball around the ballpark, not worried about the home run, staying on his legs, using his hands, and that's what makes him a dangerous hitter, guys. It's what he said Guzman had last night.
I love that. I love that Bandy takes that approach to have that conversation, because it's an ongoing conversation, especially for rookies, but all players. But when you're first trying to get yourself established, get comfortable, and your organization knows what you've done well, they keep an eye on what you do once you get to the big league level. Do you start to make changes? Do you try to be somebody that you're not? Certainly, as we talk about home runs so much, and you see a big man like Ronald Guzman, you could see where maybe he would be thinking about the home run a little bit too much, and every once in a while you need somebody, your hitting coach, your big league manager, maybe a teammate who knows you, just to kind of help get you back to what you do well and really understand yourself.
Chases strike 3 in the dirt, and is the third strikeout victim for Paxton tonight. 1 away. Hey, our next Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog night. It's going to be Wednesday, June 6th. Rangers and A's, the ball game, and then ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets. Hanser Alberto lashes the first pitch through into left field for a base hit. So the Rangers have a base runner now in this third inning, their second runner of the night.
You see Alberto asking for the baseball. That's his first hit of the year. Kind of laughing about it a little bit. 7th at bat on the season for Hanser, so good to see him get on the board.
It's only his third start, and nice to have a good sense of humor. Of course, missed all of last year with the injury to his shoulder. Now Delino to Shields, and he shows bunt, pops this one up, and that is a foul strike. Not a good bunt by Delino, who's usually pretty adept at that.
Well, he tried to bunt, which is the most difficult pitch to bunt. Check this out right here, this elevated fastball. When you're bunting, the basics of bunting, you talk about starting your bat at the very top of the zone and never going up to get the ball. Because you know you're at the top of the zone, that's a strike. So anything you go up to get will be a ball. But there's also a really good chance you're going to pop that ball up if your bat is going up after the baseball. To try to get on top of it and get that ball down takes a lot of work. And so that's why they tell you start at the top of the zone and only go down from there with your bat. But it's tempting, just like when you're swinging, right? Guys see the high fastball, looks really good coming in. And as a big leaguer, you think you can do anything. You really can. You do. You know, I can still bunt that pitch. I can still do it. I can still swing at this and get to it. And the game more often than not tells you otherwise. But it's not an ego thing. It's just your belief in your ability and thinking you can do more than the average person can do.
The bunting, it just always looks and sounds so easy.
Oh, yeah.
And it really isn't. It's not that easy. 1-2, runner goes, pitches outside, throw down to second base. That got Alberto by a mile. Zunino's throw wasn't even very good, really. It was over to the right side of the bag, but he had plenty of room to get Hanser 2 away.
And there's also a little hesitation. Watch this right here. You see that little bit of a hesitation. You mentioned that throw. A little bit toward the first base side of the bag, but for Mike Zunino, a strong throw when it was all said and done. He had himself a decent amount of time, and that is now the 8th base runner he's thrown out this year.
Well, DeShields pops this one up, and it's handled out there in right field by Haniger. So the inning is done. And we go to the bottom of the 3rd, still no score. Man, it just won't go away. It's Gordon Beckham will lead things off here in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, that was a pretty big story around the game, and you and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. And you know, I watched that slide by Musgrove. It wasn't terrible. It was aggressive. He doesn't mind. He's not afraid to go in there.
Pop up foul ground, and Guzman appeared to have that one under control the whole time. Hanser Alberto, I think, maybe trying to call him off, but of course the reach of Guzman made it almost impossible.
Yeah, even if Hanser Alberto wanted this, you're going to turn that into a jump ball that you're going to lose every time.
I don't think he's got the vertical to get it done. We know I can shoot free throws, though. He won the free throw shooting contest 2 years ago.
Fundamentals.
Well, one gone, and here is Gene Segura. He find out to right field in the 1st inning. And Moore, 4 strikeouts, his first time through the lineup, allowed 2 hits, but off to a real nice start in this one so far. A little bit in. Matt just back up off the disabled list. Austin Bibbins Dirks was sent back to AAA Round Rock. And Austin knew that was coming. He said as much yesterday. He understood that he would be making the start, and more than likely would be on his way out. But I would say this too with regard to Austin. guesses we'll see him again.
Oh, no doubt.
This ball hit hard and down into the left field corner, and that one will be extra bases for Segura. A one-out double for the Mariners shortstop.
Take a look at this pitch here from Matt Moore. Tried to go in with the fastball, but you see where our Fox Tracks had it. A little bit more over the middle of the plate. And Gene Segura, just such a good hitter. Difficult out, and he places that ball into left field to the wall for a one-out double. I'm with you on ABD. He did a really nice job. About him, we don't look at him as this type of pitcher, but 11 strikeouts to 1 walk in his 11 innings of work. Did a really nice job, I think, in that regard. Not what you think about when you think about Austin Bibens-Dirks and the high strikeout rate. But that's also an awkward position to be in when you know you're probably going down, even before you make that start. You know Matt Moore is going to be activated. You look around, of course, this is a rotation filled with veterans. And, you know, it's a part of you that, you know, you don't believe it until you're told it, even though you probably know it's going to happen. That brings a little bit of extra added pressure, I think, into that start for Austin. Oh, if I threw 8 shutouts, is there any chance I could stay like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Try a little harder. You got to be careful with those emotions when you're in that spot.
Ooh, a low strike to Heredia. After the previous pitch was one of those rare high strike calls, and so Moore using extreme ends of the strike zone here.
Yeah, I thought this one was more of a strike. Now, based on what we have seen so far, that second pitch was a strike, but you go by based on what we've seen so far. That's why I said the consistency is what is going to matter most to these hitters.
1-2 now, and a little roller first base side. Guzman right there, 2 away. And Segura moves up to third. We'll bring up Mitch Haniger. Haniger, we mentioned it yesterday, one of those rarities in that he leads his team in RBIs and leads a team in walks. And you see his splits here against lefties and righties, and he has really eaten up left-handed pitching, but he struck out on the first.
And he did it on 3 pitches after Matt Moore went fastball, curveball, finished him off.
And he rips this one by third. That's a base hit, and it scores the game's first run. Segura is in, and Haniger with the RBI double makes it Seattle 1 and the Rangers nothing.
Matt Moore tried to get a fastball by Mitch Haniger, and I mentioned this earlier. When he falls off and that ball has a little bit of cut to it, it becomes a little bit more of a hittable pitch, and that's what you saw on that fastball. Robinson Trinos wanted that on the corner, came back over the middle. Whenever that ball's coming into a right-handed hitter, not surprising at all to see them pull the ball, especially down the line, the way that Haniger just did.
So the Mariners get on the board first tonight, and here is Nelson Cruz, who singled in the second inning. The Cruz base hit was to lead off the second. Eventually he would get as far as third base, but was left there. And it was the first hit he had ever had in his career against Moore. This one way inside. It's 2-0. When we talk about the pressure for Austin Bibens-Dirks, I don't doubt that there's a little pressure for Matt Moore.
Sure.
The way he's thrown this year, he just keeps hoping that this will be the start that gets him going, as he misses wildly high there. And command is seemingly eroding in this at bat here against Cruz. 3-0 pitch, and this one is popped up. Might be playable. Guzman has room. And he tucks it away. The inning is done. So on a 3-0 pitch, he gets Cruz to pop out, and the inning is done. Mariners lead at 1-0 to the 4th. Seattle. Thanks to T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on tickets to the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch on Fridays. The next one will be June 8th. Rangers hosting the Astros. Use the coupon code T-Mobile at texasrangers.com/specials. All right, so 4th inning, and Chu backs away from a breaking ball. That one in there for a strike. Chu lined out in the first, 0 for 1. Paxton pins a fastball in the outside corner. It's 0-2.
And Chu didn't like that one. We talked about Paxton's struggles against left-handed hitters this year, which makes this matchup for Chu seem like an ideal one. Not that the batting average is great for Chu against lefties this year. It's 242. He's been better against righties at 268. But you think about a guy with a big fastball. We know Chu's been very good on high velocities this year, and the matchup almost seems like it would really favor Chu.
Swings and misses here. 4th strikeout of the night for Paxton. Paxton, who dealt with the Eagle earlier this year in Minnesota. Our showstopper today, they were dealing with something entirely different in Detroit. There was a goose on the loose. Grounds crew.
It's amazing how low that goose is flying right there. That is amazing. And looks like he got himself some pretty good seats.
Yeah.
It's like my dog's dream right there. I got a beagle, half pug. He would never be able to catch that bird.
No, he would not.
But he believes he could.
Well, it's half the battle. Will pop up near second base. 2 away. So Kiner Falefa goes quietly. So no ducks on the pond out there in Detroit today. They had that big goose issue. Here's Nomar Mazara. And Omar doing a good job here, buying some time for Matt Moore as he very slowly gets in the batter's box. After a couple of quick outs like that, you want to make sure that your starter has at least a second to sit down in the dugout.
And on the flip side too is you don't want the pitcher you're going up against in James Paxton getting too comfortable, getting in a groove, and having that kind of quick pitch inning. Now there's nothing you could do. It's been 6 pitches when Nomar stepped in for this at bat. You're not going to necessarily take any in that spot, but you'd like to at least slow James Paxton down, who has a very good pace. We talk about that stat a lot. And for James Paxton, 19.4 is his pace, time in between pitches. That's pretty good. League average is just above 23. So he is a guy that works very quickly.
You know, one thing that occurs to me, though, and we talk about these paces, right? And you mentioned the 19.4, very good. What's the best in baseball?
18-ish.
Right, about 18.
Yeah. Doug Fister is always in the top 3 or 4.
Because the rule book, more times than not, people say, well, there's a rule already on the books. It's a 12-second rule. If we just enforce that, don't forget this clock nonsense. Why don't we just enforce the rule in the book? Well, no one could ever make the 12-pitch rule or the 12-second rule.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because the way that pace stat is put together, it takes the entire at-bat, divides by the number of pitches.
Well, it's a lot of math for those umpires.
It is a lot of math. I don't know how they get it done. But you think about it, if you watch a game and you sat there with a stopwatch, it would be faster than, let's say, in the case of James Paxton. You'll see a lot of pitches quicker than 18 seconds.
Oh, I see. So what you're saying is like all that time of walking up to the plate or
I think
whatever.
it's after the first pitch.
But I mean,
per at bat.
Between hitters.
So
right?
like, well, here's an
time.
example. Foul ball right there. The amount of time that's happening right here. It's only the, first pitch of the at-bat. So that took longer than it would be had he just thrown a ball and got the ball right there.
Line shot right field for Profar, and Mazzara after the walk, sprinting into third base. Beasley's gonna wave him. The throw back to the infield, cut off, and into third base goes Profar. So Jurickson Profar ties the game, and now he's just 90 feet away.
Well, this was a great read by Tony Beasley in the corner as he watched this Jurickson Profar extra base hit get drilled into the right field corner. Now Nomar Mazara comes around, does a good job, doesn't look over his shoulder, just picks up his third base coach, and there might have been a play, but once Beckham missed that ball, it was over with. And Jurickson Profar as well, kind of keeping an eye on Nomar Mazara. Once he went, Jurickson knew that he could go. And good base running there by the Rangers.
The next pitch, and that one lined up the middle by Gallo. Gets Profar to the plate, and the Rangers lead it 2-1. Wow. That happened in a hurry to James Paxton.
Well, it certainly did. First of all, go back to the Nomar Mazara at-bat, right, where he took a little bit of time trying to break the rhythm of James Paxton, and then you get Joey Gallo, shift or not, it doesn't matter. He laces that ball to center field. Nothing that you can do. But it's the walk. It's a really good approach by Jurickson Profar to take the ball the other way. And then Mitch Haniger, I guess, did he get an error on that? Did they say? Did they give Mitch Haniger an error on that ball in the corner? They haven't.
No.
So straight triple.
No, haven't heard otherwise.
This is my MLB at-bat app says
that he reaches.
Official score ruling pending.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't really know yet. Oh, 0-2 to Robinson Chirinos. Yeah, that's why I haven't called it a triple yet because we haven't heard. And I'm with you. I looked at the MLB.com app and it said that he reaches on a ball into the right field corner.
We're waiting.
1-2 on Chirinos. But I didn't see Profar slow down, right? As he was heading to second base.
Nope, I think he was watching Nomar. And once he realized Nomar was going, then he went. Now, what I don't know, and I couldn't see based on where we were, our vantage point here, was whether or not Mitch Haniger had bobbled that ball at all.
Well, a little pop-up near second base, and that one will end the inning, but the Rangers pick up 2 runs. Some big hits in the inning. Profar and Gallo driving in runs.
bottom of the 4th inning, and the Jurickson Profar hit ultimately ruled a triple. This is such a great view. We're going to watch Mitch Haniger get over to this ball. We weren't sure if he bobbled it because we don't know where he went. There he is. So he's got a weird angle to try to make that throw with that little corner, and then Gordon Beckham missed it. So I wasn't sure if they were going to give an error potentially on Haniger, either on the bobble, potential bobble, or the throw. As you see, Jurickson Profar turning it on right here, and I think that's a good indicator. You mentioned it, really no hesitation around second base, but I wasn't sure what was happening in right field. There is a little bit of room there to disappear. I don't know why they would have that wall cut in like that. Makes it a little trickier for sure.
Well, first pitch swinging, and Ryan Healy sends this one out to Nomar Mazara for the first down of the inning. I mean, how do we even know that that was the actual baseball that was hit?
Good point. Or that we even know that was the real Mitch Haniger.
Another good point. You know, back in the real olden days, I had like a, double great uncle twice removed kind of situation. And apparently he played, back like in the 1800s, and he would peel a potato and put it in the tall outfield grass.
Come on.
And apparently sometimes if you couldn't get over the ball, you would just take that little peeled potato and throw it back in.
Throw it in, and then what happened after that?
Well, then there would be a lot of confusion.
Yeah, because then at some point, the pitcher would have to throw that potato in the game. And I know it was a little bit easier to pitch in those days, but come on.
I think things were a lot more loosely regulated back then. It's like the whole Cap Anson thing, right? That we still haven't quite figured out. How many hits did Cap Anson have in his career? It's over 3,000-ish. Because we just don't know. More to Seager, and he lines this one out to right center field. Seager with his second hit of the game. Speaking of Cap Anson, Adrian Cap Anson. How about Adrian Beltre? Saturday, June 16th, the 3:05 game. Interleague style, Rockies and Rangers. First 15,000 fans get an Adrian Beltre Best Friends bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. It's the first in a series of 2 Best Friends bobbleheads. There he is. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS.
Some speculation about Adrian Beltre getting closer and closer to getting activated, potentially before this road trip is over. One more in Seattle tomorrow, and then 3 games in Anaheim against the Angels. There was even some speculation that he would have been activated today. I saw some of the writers talking about it, trying to figure it out.
But I think Banny told us yesterday before the game that it definitely wasn't going to happen today. I could be wrong. I could be off one day. Maybe it was Monday that he said that it would not happen the next day. So, but I'm like, I guess I'm like the writers in that way. When you tell me that it's definitely not going to be tomorrow, oh, well, that means it'll be the day after that.
Yeah.
Runner at first, 1 out. There's another little clue in the notes today, too, on that, I thought. 1-1 to Zunino, and he swings and misses strike 2. Let's see if Leslie has any information.
Well, Dave, I hate to say this, but you were right. He did say that Adrian would not play last night or tonight. Now, they haven't said, though, that he won't play tomorrow. They haven't said he would. So we just know that he's really close. He's doing everything. Adrian said before tonight's game that he feels better now than he did the last time he came back, and that when they do bring him back, he said it's going to go slowly. He'll DH some. He'll take some days off in between games. Of course, he'd like to be out there every day, but he understands that's part of the process. We'll see how it goes after about 10 days or so. And then take it from there. But guys, we don't know when it's going to be, but he is really close, they say.
But you're like me, right, Leslie? If you're told that it's not tonight or tomorrow, as the case was yesterday, it's not going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, to me that means, oh, well, it's Thursday, right?
That's, I think, the conclusion
I think
a lot of people
that's the speculation.
Yeah. No,
and also some interesting information coming out of that as far as what happens after Adrian Beltre gets activated, and maybe being a little bit more careful with his schedule, his usage, not wanting any setbacks anymore. trying to best manage that playing time and what they think is best to keep Adrian healthy and on the field.
Full count now on Mike Zunino. Yeah, they're going to have to, be very prudent and guarded, I think, with the way they allocate his playing time going forward, at least for a while. Fielded double play depth, and that one is outside ball 4, and that is the first walk issued by Moore tonight. So Seager goes to second. Zunino aboard, and it'll bring up Denard Span. So we were talking about Cap Anson, Adrian Cap Anson, who is basically understood to have around 3,081 hits.
Give or take, does it really matter?
It doesn't
Kind
really
of does.
matter. He was the first ever member of the 3,000 hit club. But then his hit total fluctuated for years as people tried to figure out what the accurate number was. Span takes one of the dirt. Well, I guess for the purposes of the here and now, we settled at 3,081. There was a year in there where baseball, and it's not Cap Anson's fault or historians' fault, anybody's fault. Major League Baseball, 1 year, decided walks are indeed, they're not just in the spoken word as good as a hit, they are a hit. If you walk, that counts as a hit. And that really throws everybody for a loop. Because you go back and say, well, it's not a hit though. And finally, I think Major League Baseball sided with some historians who said, well, you can't rewrite history. If it was a hit, then it's a hit. The 2-0 pitch. Ooh, a high strike called to Denard Span. 2-1.
Yep, we have seen that change a little bit in the strike zone now, where the top of the strike zone strike is getting called. And listen, it's a good call. It's in the zone. You'll see our pitch tracks, and don't even look at the pitch tracks. You can watch where Robinson Chirinos caught that ball. It definitely looks like a strike. So a slight adjustment here as the game has gone on as far as what is being called a strike tonight.
That's a beauty right there. 2-2 on Denard Span. Span, he flied out in the second. He's 0 for 1. More or less the everyday left fielder here. Though he has largely been a center fielder in his career. Has that ability should they need to, let's say, give Heredia a day. You can put Span out there in center. Of course, they can put Gamble anywhere. 2-2. There's a ground ball by third into left field. That's a base hit, but they will stop the runners at just one base. Seager rounded third, but was held up by Scott Brocious, and they're loaded now in the 4th inning.
That was the right play. Joey Gallo, of course, has the really strong arm in left field. This ball was hit pretty hard. Matt Moore goes back to the fastball, and he puts it away, outer half of the plate. Nice job by Denard Span to go the other way with it and find himself a hole on the left side. I was kind of curious where Matt Moore was going to go. He threw the fastball to cutter, threw a breaking ball earlier in the at-bat, and you throw the fastball if you want contact, the curveball if you want to go for that strikeout in a 2-2 count. Now he's got some work to do here with the bases loaded and 1 out.
9th place hitter, Gordon Beckham, who is 0 for 1. Beckham at 188 for the year. And there you see it. Seager, Zunino, and Span 3rd to 1st. And gets away. Heading to the plate, Seager. He'll score without a play. There was a swing and a miss by Beckham, and I think it hit Chirinos in the glove.
It almost looked like it was a cross-up, and we'll see as Robinson Chirinos is going to go out to talk to Matt Moore, make sure that everybody is on the same page. It does go down as a pass ball against Robinson Chirinos. It'll be his 3rd of the year. Yep, he was expecting a curveball. As soon as he turned that glove down, watch it right there, that tells you he's expecting a curveball and expecting that ball to be down based on where the fastball was. Now, just because there was a mix-up, we have a tendency to believe that it's more often than not the pitcher that had the signs wrong, but not always. It does happen sometimes with the catcher, and Catcher's always going to get charged with a pass ball in that situation. So Robinson went out there to clear things up with Matt Moore and make sure they're back on the same page.
Well, it ties the game. And now the go-ahead run at third in the form of Zunino. That one away in. And that one gets away from Chirinos. And everybody moves up one more base. And Seattle retakes the lead 3-2.
This almost feels like that inning last night for the Rangers where things got pretty strange and the bases were loaded and a couple of runs scored on balls that got away. Now this was a pitch that was missed pretty badly as far as a spot goes. And it wasn't in the dirt, so we'll see. This is tough because a lot of times we make the assumption, okay, if it's in the dirt, it's a wild pitch. If it's not, then it's a pass ball. But Matt Moore missed his spot by a lot. Robinson Chirinos had some work to do to try to get to that one.
That's a wild pitch.
Yeah. I think that's a good call.
2-1. It's ball 3 now to Gordon Beckham. Beckham started yesterday 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Infield in, and he takes high. That's ball 4. So they're on the corners, still with just the one out. Second walk in the inning. And Doug Brocail, Jeff Bannister discussing a couple of items. Looks like Broke is poised to head out there. He'll stay put.
And they're probably talking about who they would want to go to in this situation. And now Doug Brocail is going to go out and talk to Matt Moore, have a conversation. When you see your pitcher kind of lose it all of a sudden out of nowhere, Matt Moore was cruising along pretty well for the most part through 3 and looked pretty good. And all of a sudden the command has gotten away from him, a miscommunication, a wild pitch followed after that, and another walk. So Doug Brocail, you got to look, you watch, you see, is there anything mechanically that he's doing differently? Knowing Matt Moore now a little bit, getting a better feel for him. Doug Brocail, Dan Worthen, the pitching coaches here, they also have to sit there and figure out, is it more of a mental thing they have seen with Matt Moore in these situations?
Chris Siegel going to weigh in with his 2 cents there too, plate umpire. His 2 cents for, hey, can we move this one along? So long conversation, but it's done. Span at third, Beckham at first now. And it is the tough part of the order now. Gene Segura, who is 5th in the American League with a .330 average. Already has a double tonight. And to top it off, Moore over 20 pitches for the inning. His 22nd offering right there, and it just misses.
So that last at bat when Gene Segura hit that double last inning, 3rd inning, it was a fastball, a cut back over the plate. There was a first pitch changeup. So keep an eye on the fastball for Matt Moore. If he throws it away, to be able to keep it away. I mentioned that pitch earlier when he was throwing some good ones. Cutter at 88 miles an hour called a strike. Gene Segura didn't like it. It looked like it caught the bottom of the zone. Take a look here. Yeah, close. I actually like the first pitch better, so did Fox Tracks.
Yep, I agree.
Called even.
1-1. And that one is a little bit too low. So, favorable hitters count here for Gene Segura. We talked earlier about Haniger's numbers against lefties. You look at Segura against, or rather with the runners in scoring position. That's 6th best with that .386 average in the American League. He's also really good against lefties. Turns it foul. It's 2-2.
So based on that at bat, I mentioned what happened last time when Gene Segura hit that double. Matt Moore is not throwing a fastball now in this at bat. That's because he hit that fastball pretty hard in the 3rd inning. He has gone changeup, cutter, changeup, changeup. If he had it in him, a fastball in right on the corner would be a good pitch. But we've seen that ball cut and get away from him in this inning.
2-2 pitch, and that one is hit high in the air out to left center. Shields is there. He'll make the catch, tagging at third. Span, he'll score on the sac fly. It's 4-2 Seattle, but they are now 2 away. Well, Segura gets in could be a very consequential run in this ball game. Beckham had to hold first base, and with 2 outs now, it'll be up to Guillermo Heredia.
It's a good adjustment by Matt Moore. Ended up coming back with the changeup after what he saw from Segura in his second at bat. Now I'll see if he can make an adjustment here based on what he has seen. Now with Heredia, he's done a good job. He got the strikeout, he got the ground out to first. Third time through the order for Matt Moore, making adjustments based on what you saw in those first 2 at bats.
Heredia has been swinging a pretty hot bat lately. Fouls off strike 1 since the middle of the month. Heredia hitting .366. It's a 14-game span. Got a little power in there, 3 doubles, a triple. He's taken over in center field. D. Gordon now with the injured great toe. Did you see that on the?
Did you say great?
Yeah, on their disabled list.
Toe.
He has, in fact, I'm not even sure it says injured great toe. Let me see here.
Greatly injured.
That's a fractured right great toe. It's really.
What's so great about it?
It's exceptional.
If I've ever seen a great toe.
1-2 the count.
Assume that they mean the big toe, right? I mean, if any of your toes are going to be great, the only one that has a shot is the big one, and even then I dispute whether there could really be any greatness there.
Sergeant Holka?
I don't know what that means.
Big toe. Stripes?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the 1-2 inside, and Heredia able to skip over the top of it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So how about this for Matt Moore so far? First, second, third time through the order. That's a conversation we have a lot. 346 first time through. That's a little bit high. 437 batting average. That's really high. Second time through. Third time through, 121. How about it?
Got him right where you want him.
Yeah.
If you can get there, the 2-2. I mean, those are some outlandish numbers first and second time through.
Yeah. And about half the time. So it's been 84 batters faced first time, 81 second time, 44 third time. So about half the time he's getting to that third time through the order for Matt Moore, but he's been very successful in those spots, at least as far as the batting average against. The OPS only 470 third time through.
Second time through today, they were 4 for 7 against him.
Yeah, and that's been the problem. That OPS nearly 1,200 for Matt Moore.
That's really weird.
There it is. Now, sometimes you see that 121 and there's not that many plate appearances,
Right.
not that many batters faced, but it's, it's a decent amount compared to first and second time through.
Well, 3 runs in this inning to give Seattle the lead. And there's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Heredia strikes out, and the inning is done. When we come back, 5th inning calls. Ronald Guzman, after a big night yesterday, leads things off for the Rangers. It's been a little wild here these first 4 innings, and Ronald Guzman will lead things off here in the 5th inning. Our TXU Energy power player to watch. How about this? Since May 21st, Ronald Guzman, we know he's been good, but 12 RBIs, a 1450 OPS, both best in Major League Baseball. So he's been beyond just good. He struck out in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 1.
I think after he went on that nice 4-game run, or 4 straight starts in which he hit a home run, the confidence has certainly been there for Ronald Guzman, proving to himself that he can do it in a big way against good big league pitching. See him get more and more comfortable. He's going to be a big leaguer. I might show up in kangaroo court.
Key to any good swing, staying good and balanced. It's a 1-1. Paxton's a tough one. We showed the splits earlier, and they're hard really to get your brain around the way he has dominated right-handed hitters and struggled to lefties. But I would think it'd still be an uncomfortable at bat for a left-handed hitter, and I think that Guzman delivers a base hit into right field. Guess the numbers don't lie.
Well, you see, and this could be a reason why he has struggled a little bit. You see this pitcher trying to go down and away, leaves it middle in, especially anything that's off the fastball, and this looked like it was a cutter. You're going to give that left-handed hitter a chance to put a good swing on the ball, and that's what we just saw from Ronald Guzman. 89 miles per hour on that cutter that stayed middle in.
So Hanser Alberto, he had a base hit in the 3rd inning. His first hit of the year in a Rangers uniform, and he has only played in a handful of games. Pops this one foul. Count 1-1. He's had a start at 3rd and a start at shortstop, and now a start tonight at 2nd base. So that's part of the strength. Hanser Alberto, that versatility defensively a couple years ago, voted and recognized as the best defensive minor leaguer in the game. Not in the system, but in minor league baseball. Very slick fielding infielder. And he fouls this one straight back out of play again.
I had a chance to play with Hanser actually near the end of my career in 2012 in winter ball.
See, that makes me think you're young.
For the Gigantes, I'm not. I brought it up to him because I wasn't there very long, and a pretty good chance I thought he would forget it. He goes, "Oh no, absolutely, man. He's such a nice guy." But you know who else was on that team? Gene Segura. Oh, before he was a star. Marcelo Zuna. I didn't know who any of these. I didn't know who Gene Segura was at the time. This was 2011, 2012. I played for the Gigantes in San Francisco. D. Macarís in the Dominican. Marcelo Zuna was not a big leaguer yet. Nelson Cruz would come late to play on that team. A lot of times the big leaguers will come late to play in the postseason or near the end of the regular season. Kind of get their at-bats. Some studs on that team.
Yeah. Well, you know, and you say they come in late and you'll play maybe the stretch run in the postseason. I mean, really not that many games, right?
No. Well, they start playing early, but the postseason gets pretty extended. They kind of do the round robin. I believe it's the top 4 teams. It's great, by the way, if you are one of those that loves kind of taking those baseball trips, like what they have them, you could hit every stadium or whatever it may be, or bucket list. Totally worth your time to go down to the Dominican Republic and catch some playoff baseball, any baseball, but especially playoff baseball. It is a special atmosphere. It's like the WBC every single night. They get really into it. It's a lot of fun.
Good at bat here by Hanser Alberto. 2-2. And another foul straight back out of play. You can hear the Maple Grove getting ready. Every time there are 2 strikes, they get going out there with their A's.
What happened? You're a Gamer fan. You take it to the house?
Oh, yeah. This one ripped down the left field line.
Ooh.
Well, next pitch will be the 70th of the night for Paxton. Like half of them in this at bat to Hanser. Here comes again. And another shot to the right side, foul and out of play.
What's amazing about all these foul balls, and now what we're getting ready for pitch number 11 in this at bat, that there's still only 2 balls. It's one thing we see where we get to a full count, you start seeing a lot of foul balls, but Alberto has done an excellent job, and Paxton's done an excellent job of throwing 7 consecutive strikes.
Another one spoiled. Paxton, by the way, throwing a little bit of heat in this at bat. Seen some 97s, that last one at 98. Here comes again, and that's high, and it's a full count.
There he is. It's 98 miles an hour, you just mentioned. That has been his high of the night. The breaking ball has gotten as low as 78 miles per hour.
13th pitch of the at bat, and it is high, ball 4. Wow. That was crazy. What a great at bat by Hanser Alberto to draw the walk, and the Rangers have 2 base runners in this 5th inning. Time now for a word from our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
That was fun.
Was fun. I mean, the reaction from Hanser tells you everything you need to know, too, as far as what it meant to him. He got pretty excited after drawing a walk. You usually don't get that jazzed after a walk. I mean, you're happy to get the walk, but you don't usually have any kind of animated reaction. But when it takes you 13 pitches to get there, that's something to be proud of.
So nobody out, and Delano DeShields up there. Corners are in, and Delano does want to bunt. Pops it up again, foul. And back to the screen.
Another high fastball from Paxton, and that tells you, listen, you know that as a pitcher, if you can react in time. When you start to go through your delivery, and if a guy's bunting for a hit and he shows you the bunt late, but you're able to pick it up, if you're throwing a fastball, even if you meant to throw it down and away, you try to elevate it at that point, knowing that a guy is trying to bunt, and you try to get him to pop it up.
Shows bunt again. This time pulls back. 1-1 the count.
Delano kind of refuses to give in. I like that. We know he's a really good bunter, and just because he's fouled a couple off and a couple of at-bats and has popped them up in the air, that doesn't mean he's not going to try. Now, also not surprising that Paxton will be difficult to bunt on. The high velocity, 4-seam fastball, ball's not going to come down when it's in the top of the zone. And so it is difficult to get on top of that pitch and really get it down.
Now drops it third base side, but foul. So 1-2 the count on Delano. And I would say, you know, a lot of times when you have a good bunter, a guy like Delano, I would caution against assuming that he wouldn't bunt with 2 strikes, except that he just hasn't looked comfortable or good here against Paxton. And so I would say he's swinging.
Especially because you know about the big breaking ball as well. That would be really difficult if he were to throw that pitch down and to try to bunt that pitch.
Runners lead. Is high, 2-2.
Did you see that there as Paxton was coming set, a little shake in his glove, and I think he was trying to trick Delano. You know, sometimes if you're worried about tipping pitches, if you feel like you do one thing over another when you're throwing maybe the breaking ball, you'll pretend you're digging in a little bit longer and just to try to sell it a little bit. You see the hand movement there. Flapping the glove.
In the dirt. A struggle to come up with a clean lead. The throw down to third.
Wow.
And that very close play. Guzman, who sprawls out on some of his slides, able to get a toe on there, and he is safe. Alberto to second. And that was close.
I'm not going to say it was a pretty slide, but it was a really good slide as far as reacting to the situation. You see where the throw is, and look how wide Guzman gets and uses every inch of that long body to try to avoid the tag but still get the base. Watch this. I mean, he probably should have been out. If that throw's on the money, for sure he's out. Because it went toward the second base side of third a little bit, that gave Guzman an opportunity.
Up high to Delino, and he draws the walk. Back-to-back free passes. The Rangers have them loaded, and Mel Stottlemyre is headed out.
Let's watch Guzzi one more time on this great slide. You see him there go to the outside part of the bag and does a great job of avoiding the tag. That was fantastic. And there's the big toe, the great toe.
That was
right on the bag.
So the wild pitch advanced the two runners. The walk then loads them up. And Stottlemyre, a long conversation, because the heart of the order is coming up. Played up by Chris Siegel after a respectful amount of time out there to send everybody back. So Seattle had just taken the lead, scoring 3 runs, one of them on a pass ball, one on a wild pitch, one on a sac fly, to get back in front 4-2. Now the Rangers trying to take advantage of some free 90s here.
Each
and they've
team
got a
now,
good guy at the plate.
Yeah, they certainly do. Right man, right spot. I mentioned I feel like this would be a good matchup for Chu. He hit that line out to short, and then he struck out in the third.
He's reached safely now in 16 consecutive games. Now today 0 for 2. Yesterday homered, walked 2 more times. And as far as a hitting streak goes, it's at 7 games. Comes up empty here. It's 0-2.
Yeah, it seems like Chu is not seeing that breaking ball very well from James Paxton, and we were talking about Matt Moore, first, second, third time through the order. They've been all good batting averages against for James Paxton. I say good in his favor. He's done a really good job overall with the batting average against, but third time through the order, 188 for him this year.
Historically, Chu has handled Paxton well. It was 6 for 12 against him coming into play today, and we could hardly get that little factoid in before he lined out to short. It looked like when the ball left the bat that it was destined for center field. Hung up just a little too much, and Segura was able to get to it. And the 0-2 bounces up there and off of, it looked like off the chin, in fact, of Zunino. Not just the face mask, looked like it almost got up underneath it.
Take a look at this pitch, breaking ball, trying to get that swing and miss, but way too far in front of the plate. And you're absolutely right. That ball went right underneath the mask, and you don't really see guys wear those kind of throat guards anymore. That's kind of old school, right? You see, sometimes the umpires will wear them. You don't really see those because you anticipate that if you're looking down, there's no room for that ball to get in there. But it found a way.
Paxton approaching 30 pitches in the inning now. The 1-2. Oh, strike 3 call. Well, he gets Chu. That's the first out of the inning.
This was 97 miles an hour, and it caught a lot of the play. Chu knew it right away. A little bit of that natural cut on the four-seamer.
So one big out, and here is Kiner Falefa, who has twice popped up to second. Goes after the first pitch, and that one's going to hang up a long time. Span coming into very shallow left field, and there's no chance for anybody to move. Well, bases loaded, nobody out. Chu strikes out looking. Kiner Falefa pops out to short left, and it's going to be up to Nomar Mazara. Well, this could be one of those half innings that you revisit toward the end of the game. Mazara trying to make sure that it is not. 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. Has 1 career grand slam.
Overall for the Rangers coming into this one, they've been hitting 200 with the bases loaded. 1 grand slam that Chu hit against the Chicago White Sox earlier this year. But you're right, this was shaping up to be a really big opportunity for the Rangers, and James Paxton has almost found his way out of it.
Not quite there yet, and,
No.
and the one thing that's important too in this matchup right here is that it's not like he's fresh in this inning. I mean, he's over 30 pitches now for the inning and approaching 90 for the game. Zara swings and misses. It's 1-1. So you might have a guy just rubber legging it just a little bit out there on the mound, working with the bases loaded, and one of your best RBI guys at the plate. Two and one. Couple of big guys going head to head here. Paxton 6'4", nearly 250. Zara bouncer left side, backhand stops Segura. His throw is true, and the inning is done. So bases loaded, nobody out, but the Rangers can't get anything out of it. We're halfway to the house tonight, 4-2 Mariners.
Join T-Mobile in showing appreciation for all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
4-2. Seattle leads, and the Big Maple just got himself out of a big jam. And now Matt Moore pitching from behind, and we'll see the heart of the order here. Dumps one right in there for a strike to Mitch Haniger. Haniger had an RBI double in the third. He's 1 for 2. Well, we'll see. This one a long way from being over, but that might have been a huge moment in the game in the top of the inning. Moore just wants to keep it close here. It's 1-1.
And it looked like that was going to be the first shutdown inning, or at least it looked like we weren't going to get that first shutdown inning after the Rangers loaded the bases. Seattle scored one in the bottom of the third. Rangers came right back. Then Matt Moore couldn't hold the Mariners off the board. They scored 3, and it looked like the Rangers were about to answer once again, but unable to. We wonder about the momentum of this game a little bit.
Well, bouncer down to third base. Kiner Falefa right there in front of it. One away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to Rick Renner. No, not at all. What a great day, and a happy day in the Pudge family. Of course, I mean, look, a nice job pitching the ball. That's great. But it's a national league.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to do a little more than that. As Cruz takes the ball, the count 1-1.
Well, especially when you have that kind of extended relief outing. You know that opportunity could be there. a big reputation you got to live up to
Yeah.
with the bat.
1-1. And this one popped up. Foul ground and out of play. Guzman couldn't quite get to it. So here's the deal. How about a big story? That was great, Rick, but we were impressed with the way he handled the bat last night. Are you kidding me?
And that's not Colorado aided. That ball was well struck to right field over the head of Cargo and an easy stand-up double. I want a little more reaction. Oh yeah, whatever. Double is all we do in our family. We just rake.
This ball kept fair just inside the third baseline by Cruz. Boy, he is churning for two. Here comes the throw, and he is just in there. Cruz will have a one-out double.
Boy, that was close. I really thought Joey Gallo was going to have an opportunity here. The ball kicked back a little bit. You're going to get a look at it here. Right there, came just a little bit forward, so Joey had to come in to get the ball, and he makes the throw on the run, looking like a third baseman once again. And the quick tag might have been a little bit too quick. Watch the tag come across. Had it gone straight to the corner of the bag, Alberto might have had a chance to get Nelson Cruz. Joey looked like he was fielding a slow roller right in the infield at third. The way he threw that, he knew to have any chance he had to get it in quick, and so he had to throw it off balance.
We got a little glimpse of Cruz when he was rounding first, headed for second. And I hate to say it because it sounds mean, but there was almost like a look on his face like, oh, really? Come on, I gotta run to second now? Almost as if he'd wish somebody was there to pick it up and just hold him to a single. But he got a double out of it, his seventh. The 1-0 to Ryan Healy.
He's running hard out of the box, no doubt about it, but you're getting it right here. And it's realizing that it was going to be close. I got to believe you hit that ball down the line, you think it's most likely going to be an easy double. And for Nelson Cruz, realized he was going to have to earn that one.
To run, yeah. Gonna have to work for it, and he did. Up and away, and Healy ahead here 3-0.
A little frustration there in the face of Matt Moore after that pitch, and Leslie mentioned this in the beginning of the game as far as what Matt has been keeping an eye on, that falling off the third base side, and when he does it a little bit, maybe not quite staying back, as we've seen a couple of pitches now stay up and away over the last couple of years.
There's a strike to Healy, who struck out in the second, flied out in the fourth. Fouled away, so a full count. Healy batting fifth today, playing first base. Comes to the Mariners via Oakland, where last year really had a nice year, certainly in terms of power production. 25 home runs at Oakland, and he bounces this one third base. Kiner Falefa looks Cruz back, and he throws out Healy, 2 gone. Well, we're getting toward 100 pitches for Moore. And so Tony Barnett on our Southwest bullpen live look. He's been thrown out there for a little while. And Barney, no doubt, ready to go when needed at this point. There's Kyle Seager, who's 2 for 2.
Pitch number 97 right there for Matt Moore is a new season high. He had a couple of games in which he threw 96 pitches. Back on April 11th against the Angels, and then on May 7th against the Tigers. And in both of those games, didn't get past the 6th inning. One was 5 innings of work, another 5 2/3. And so that's been a little bit of an issue here for Matt Moore. Efficiency.
Yeah, and that was part of the conversation today before the game when asked, you know, what Jeff Bannister wanted to see from Moore was, of course, wanted to see him compete, but wanted to see him just be a little more efficient.
I think it goes back to, though, the fact that the ground ball rate I mentioned has been okay, slightly below league average, but not necessarily a guy who can give you that first pitch two-seam fastball to try to get a hitter to put that ball on the ground. It's not really part of Matt Moore's game. That's one of those things that can help you keep that pitch count down.
One and two to Seager. Moore had 4 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. He's only had 1 since then. But he adds another. Seager strikes out swinging, and that's how we end the 5th. Mariners leave a man out at scoring position. Off to the 6th inning tonight. Seattle 4, the Rangers 2.
The Mariners leading the Rangers by 2. Let's get to our Southwest player breakdown. Jurickson Profar has done a really nice job this year against left-handers, and he had a big moment here where he hit this triple off of James Paxton into the right field corner. It was an RBI triple for Jurickson Profar. We've talked a lot about his clutch at-bats coming up big in big spots. He drove in Nomar Mazara, later scored on the Joey Gallo single. Those are the 2 runs that the Rangers have scored. Jurickson Profar has been a part of those, and he'll get an opportunity here to lead off in the 6th inning, and he'll face a new pitcher. Dan Altavilla is in. We saw him, last night he pitched against the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken.
Everybody pitched last night. Yeah, he threw a scoreless inning. They only used, 6 relievers. Pazos, Cook, Zipchinski, Altavilla, Edwin Diaz, and Chasen Bradford in that one. Yeah, we see a lot of Dan Altavilla. This will be his 20th appearance of the year.
Much like Matt Moore for James Paxton, the pitch count was up a little bit, but also the length of that last inning. You were talking about, first it started with that Alberto at bat. The Rangers were able to load the bases after he had a walk, 11 pitch at bat, and so I got to believe for the Mariners, just that long inning makes them decide that they're ready to get Paxton out of the game and into that bullpen.
Profar kind of a half swing at that first offering from Altavilla. Gallo would be next, then Robinson, Chirinos. Rangers had the bases loaded, nobody out in the 5th. But were unable to add to their run total tonight. Profar shanks that one. It's 0-2. So we'll see how they fare against this Mariners bullpen. And yesterday the Mariners pen really showed some vulnerability for one of the rare times this season. They've been very good in general, but the Rangers got to them.
Edwin Diaz allowed 4 runs when it was all said and done. This guy's been dominant this season. Scott Servais said before the game tonight that Diaz would be given the day off. He was thrown 5 out of 7. He looked a little bit fatigued. The velocity was still there, but the command was not, with both the slider and the fastball. And the Rangers really cashed in on the struggles of Edwin Diaz yesterday. So Alex Colomé, who they just acquired, we talked about that earlier, would be the closer this season.
Ooh, in tight. That one got a piece of Profar's foot, so a hit battered is how we start this 6th inning. And here comes Joey Gallo, and you know he hit some moon shots. Well, Saturday, June 9th, the first 15,000 fans to the ballgame will get a Joey Gallo tape measure bobblehead, courtesy of Dairy Max. It's the Astros and the Rangers, a 6:15 game. Tickets are still available at TexasRangers.com.
Couple
Man on
Rangers
here.
fans here in Seattle.
We bumped into a lot of them
in short sleeves tonight.
Yeah, there have been some folks today. You look around and you think, I'm not sure you were dressed for the weather today. There's a guy right behind home plate tonight, trying to catch some rays maybe. Got the shorts going and whatnot, but yeah, there you go.
It's okay to admit that you're a little cold. See, I could the shorts I could handle personally if you have the jacket on. The short sleeves, though, that would be the issue.
Well, those swings and misses, but this one gets away from Zunino, and Profar will move to second base. Well, we have seen almost, just a stunning sum of free 90s. Oh, Leslie, how many jackets do you have on? Sweatshirts, turtlenecks?
I have just a few layers on. Turtleneck, jacket, Rangers jacket now. Hoodie, the hoodie's working. Couple cups of hot chocolate.
Well, be careful. You don't want to use all of it yet because it could get down into the 50s eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on. You're sitting up there in the booth. You can't judge.
You need some place to go eventually.
Was it 42 degrees opening day? Is that right? Or was that opening day? Not opening day, but.
Was that first series when we were here?
Was it 42? Yeah, I think it was.
I can find out for you. CJ, you ask. I will look it up.
Memory serves, 42 degrees at first pitch.
It was a pass ball, by the way, that got Profar out there to second base. Oh, you're not going to be happy with this one. Oh, never mind.
We were setting records.
Game, apparently.
We were setting records in April. And
it was cold. Two pitch. Swing and a miss. So Gallo continuing to struggle just a little bit. One away here.
Take a look at the pitch here. It looked like a little cutter. Was foul tipped by Joey Gallo, or could have been the four-seam fastball with some natural cut on it.
So here's Chirinos. Robbie just 2 hits in his last 20 at bats now. In the span of what will be 8 games. Yesterday didn't walk. Hits this ball sharply into left field. That's a base hit. Profar around third. Beasley's waving him. Here comes the throw. It's offline, and Chirinos goes to second. So Chirinos makes it a 1-run game with that base hit to left. He advances on the throw, and it's 4-3.
Oh, what a great job by Robinson Chirinos all the way around. First, he gets a pitch that he can handle up in the zone. It's a slider, drills it to left field. Jurickson Profar can run. Good secondary lead, good read off the bat. He scores relatively easily. Now, Denard Span's a veteran. He's been there and done that before, but that's a mistake, missing your cutoff man, and a great job by Chirinos to read that throw right out of Denard Span's hand. As soon as you realize that ball is over the cutoff man's head, you take off, and he trades places with Jurickson Profar and puts himself in scoring position. Oh my.
Guzman fouls that one off his foot and goes down on a heap. Guzman 1 for 2, and he'll take a moment to walk that one off.
Well, this has to hurt. We mentioned a little bit chilly here. It looked like it caught him right on the top of his right foot.
Big bone between your big toe and your ankle.
Great bone.
Is that your foot bone? It looked like you got him right on the foot bone. Oof. I mean, that was a direct hit too.
Yeah, that one stung a little bit.
Bandy out there along with Kevin Harmon, head athletic trainer. Guzman's okay. And it was always matter of just maybe a minute or two to walk him off. I say always, majority of the time. So Chirinos out there with a potential tying run. And Altavilla's pitch is swinging and a miss. So Guzman in a hole 0-2. Look at that at the bottom there. 6 for his last 10 with runners in scoring position. Guzman has been amazingly clutch. Got half of those last night. He sends this one in the air, foul ground, and playable for Seager. 2 away. Well, looking ahead, tomorrow we're going to wrap up this series. A progressive upcoming schedule. Tomorrow night, final game here in Seattle until the end of September, by the way, when we come back next. Then we go to Anaheim. We'll see the Angels this weekend before returning home for a little homestand. In fact, a lot of home games on the schedule coming up. Alberto has reached both times. He's been up there today. Sends this one out to left center field. Coming on for it to expand, and he'll close on it quickly enough to make the play. The inning is done. But the Rangers get one back.
A good job by Robinson Chirinos. He has the big hit, the good base running. Gets the Rangers a little bit closer as they trail now just by 1.
Bottom of the 6th inning tonight here in Seattle. You can download the app, play for free, start your streak for a chance at $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. $5.6 million, you'd be able to afford one of those beautiful yachts out there. So Matt Moore out for a 6th inning here. He has the bottom third of the order coming. Mike Zunino, the first hitter he'll deal with, and he puts one in there for a strike. I guess going to break, knowing that Moore was at 100 pitches and navigated the 5 innings, I figured he was done. 0-2.
Jeff Bannister going to give him an opportunity to try to get through 6 innings. I mentioned that had been one of the issues for Matt Moore when that pitch count had gotten up, that he was unable to complete 6 innings. Well, we'll get a chance here. Pretty short leash, I have to imagine, being into the triple digits.
That's cool, though. I noticed Banny trying to get more and more length out of everybody, relievers, starters. And I think part of it is just maybe showing a little faith, a little trust in guys. You know, we get it. That's appreciated.
Well, I think more often than not, we see Jeff Bannister give his starters some opportunities, and for a starting pitcher, you love that. And your manager is not just going to get you out of there at the first sign of trouble, or believe that, you know, maybe you can't do it after. You know, some people look in and say, oh, you know, we freak out, right? 100 pitches.
Oh, for sure.
You would think it was 200 pitches, the way that we react to it sometimes. And maybe he liked what he saw last inning, I guess, from Matt Moore. He wants to see if he can do it one more time.
Got ahead quickly on Zunino, but now has run the count back to full. Zunino has walked and struck out. Hits this ball hard over third and down into that left field corner. And Zunino will pedal out to second base, and he's in there with a leadoff double. And Banny edging up those steps.
Well, you have the lefty now, Denard Span, stepping in, and it was Tony Barnett that was been throwing in that bullpen for the Rangers. And so the idea of giving Matt Moore at least one more hitter here, give him a chance at the lefty. Got to believe that's what Jeff Bannister is thinking right now. And I think regardless of result, this would very likely be the last hitter for Matt Moore.
Denard Span sends this one out to left field and right to Joey Gallo. So one away, one pitch. And he got the out of the left-handed hitter. And now Jeff Bannister makes his way out there. So he left him in to face the lefty. He got him. But a right-hander, Gordon Beckham, coming on. And a new pitcher coming on as well. By LG OLED TV with AI ThinQ. And by Budweiser. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. Oh yeah, beautiful scene tonight. Just outside the ballpark, downtown Seattle. On a Wednesday evening. Well, Matt Moore done, went 5 1/3. That means the Rangers went into the bullpen and they bring in right-hander Tony Barnett.
I'll take a look at Tony and what he has used so far this season. There's the pitch arsenal, 50% fastballs. You have the curveball, you have the cutter and the slider for Tony. He's done a good job against both lefties and righties this season. 133 batting average against the lefties, 211 against the righties.
First pitch is wrapped right up the middle for a base hit around third base. Zunino, he'll head to the plate and score on the Beckham single. 5-3 Mariners.
Well, you see Gordon Beckham looking for a pitch early, and this one was down, but an RBI situation, being aggressive and get that ball pretty firmly right back up the middle.
I can close the book now on Matt Moore because that run was charged to his line. 5 runs, 4 of them earned in his 5 1/3 innings. Man at first now, and Segura swings right through strike 1. Gene Segura 1 for 2 with a sac fly, a double, run scored and an RBI for him tonight. Barnett, quick step to the plate. 1-1. Tony, born in Alaska, but grew up around here, just about 20 miles south of here. Played for Thomas Jefferson High School in Federal Way. Played high school ball against Brandon Mann. Bouncer up the middle, and that one into center field for a base hit. Beckham's going to try for a third, and he'll get there without a throw. So Segura with a single, and it puts Mariners on the corners here with 1 out.
A couple good approaches here by the Seattle Mariners as they try to stay back up the box against Tony Barnett. Now you know that there's a decent chance you're going to get a cutter from Tony, and for right-handed hitters that means that ball is going to be cutting away. You try to pull off that ball, there's a good chance you're going to hit a weak pop-up of both of these right-handed hitters in Beckham and Segura, staying right back up the middle on those base hits.
So now a little work to do here for Tony Barnett. Guillermo Heredia, right-handed hitter, and he takes strike 1. Good numbers against Barnett in his career. Struggling tonight, 0 for 3. Couple of strikeouts. Infield setting up at double play depth. And a slowly rolled ground ball to short. Return by Alberto in time for the double play. 6-4-3. Inning is done. And so the Mariners will have to settle for the 1 run. They extend their lead, though, to 5-3. Chris Martin. He's going to be appearing at a Whataburger coming up. Autograph session with Chris Martin at the Whataburger at 125 Sycamore School Road in Fort Worth. That's going to be June 7th. Starts at 10:30 in the morning. Sign up to be the Whataburger Whata fan, and you could win tickets to a Rangers game as well as Whataburger for a year. Just go to TexasRangers.com/appearances. Ryan Cook has come on to pitch in this 7th inning for Seattle. He'll get the top of the order.
Yeah, we saw the righty yesterday struggling a little bit when he first came in, game number 6 overall, but it is 6 strikeouts to just 1 walk and tremendous opponent's batting average against so far this season. Early on for Ryan Cook. He looked a little bit uncomfortable, a little wild early on, and then settled down and pitched fine after that. We'll see with this 2-run lead if the Rangers can find a way to get a couple of base runners on, get things going again.
The Shields takes a strike. Delino has walked twice tonight. Flied out his other time in. You can see the average has taken a bit of a hit lately. And that's despite the fact that he had a little hitting streak interrupted yesterday. He had hit previously in the 6 prior games. But for the better part of 3 weeks or so now, Delino hitting just a shade over 150 for a long stretch. So his average has plummeted some. Still finding a way to get on base. Takes high, 3-1. So Cook, this is a critical portion of the game. Just a 2-run game, and Cook puts the first batter he faces on base, and it's not just any batter. Puts the Rangers' best base runner on. 3rd time tonight that DeShields has walked. And here is Shin-Soo Choo.
Good opportunity here, probably for Choo. Pretty happy to see Paxton out of this game. A couple of strikeouts for him. He had that line out. Just some uncomfortable swings for Choo, who's been red hot as of late.
He rips this one into right field. That's a base hit. So Delino stop at second base on the single by Choo. And just like that, the tying runs are on here in the 7th inning.
And Choo not waiting around. Even after the walk, he sees a pitch that he can handle right away, and he jumps on it. Good hard ground ball into right field. Exactly what you want to see from the top of your order. Is the first couple of guys get on, and now you're in the middle. We'll see. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, even though he's hitting in the 3-hole, you wonder if the sac bunt would be in play.
Oh, he takes an inside corner strike right there.
Well,
that was close.
Well, he is thinking about obviously getting this bunt down, and he pulled back as you're supposed to when you believe the ball is out of the strike zone, and then had a call go against him.
Corners are in, and he is not hiding from it. Drops a nice bunt down to the 3rd base side, but Kiner-Falefa is out on a good play by Seager. Sacrifice, a good one. Both runners now in scoring position.
That was perfect. That's what you want to do. You have runners at 1st and 2nd, nobody out, and if you're asked to sacrifice, you want a hard bunt to 3rd base, make the 3rd baseman field the ball, so that means both of the runners could advance relatively easily, and they do. And that's as good as it gets right there by Kiner-Falefa.
And that brings out Scott Service. He takes the baseball, and so Cook is done. A walk, a single, a sacrifice, and Service goes deeper into his bullpen. 7th in a 2-run game. Hey, by the way, the Rangers and Astros get ready to go again. June 7th through the 10th. Great seats still available for this edition of the Silver Boot Series. Go to TexasRangers.com. Call 972-RANGERS. And Mark Zepchenski is the new Mariners pitcher.
We talked about him yesterday. Threw a full inning, but it's still 17 games in 7 2/3 innings of work for Zepchenski. He's got the pretty wild splits, 192 against left-handed hitters, 636 batting average against the righties. That's why you see the overall opponent's batting average at 324. But look at Nomar Mazara, the left-hander, to start things off.
So Zepchenski sets and fires, and this one is lined up the middle. That's a base hit. 1 run is in. They'll wave Chu. The throw's up the line, and this game is tied. Heading to second base, Mazara. Wow, so the Rangers come back again. This time Mazara delivering a huge 2-run single.
Well, it didn't even give me enough time to ask you whether or not you like the sacrifice bunt. So many conversations about it, but this one absolutely worked out. Good job by Nomar on a pitch that was somewhat middle away, but lines it right back up the middle. This throw was pretty horrific by Heredia. You see it up the line, and what it allowed Nomar Mazara to do was go to second base. This is the second time that we have seen a throw from the outfielder or a outfielder from the Mariners that allowed a Ranger runner to then move into scoring position.
Now an intentional walk issued to Jurickson Profar. So first and second base occupied now for Joey Gallo. That's interesting.
Well, Profar has been definitely better against lefties this year, and that's been one of the surprise parts of his season. Came in hitting .283 against lefties and did a nice job, had that triple against James Paxton.
I mean, what are you trying to set up a force play here? I mean, you're not gonna get it. All you're doing is putting more potential damage out there. Well, Gallo, I think at this point we understand it's a flip of the coin, right? He's in there to hit a home run.
Well, you mentioned what, hardest guy to double up?
The hardest, yeah. I mean, you're not getting a force out on the bases. I mean, it's just highly unlikely. Yeah, you might get a strikeout, right? I mean,
sure.
That's no doubt what they're going for, most in the league. But anytime he comes up, the great threat, the reason he's out there is because he hits home runs. Interesting to put an extra base runner on in front of him.
Oh, tough call there from Joe. Wow, that is tough. That ball is below the zone. Gets himself in that really nice 2-0 count. He knows he's struggling with those swings and misses, and so he's trying to be more selective. And then when he is, kind of gets worked over on a call right there.
2 men on. 1 out. Ooh, he couldn't stop himself. 2-2.
It just changes the entire at-bat. That 2-0 call, as opposed to it being 3-0, goes to 2-1. Joey sees a slider that's in that similar area and is forced to swing at it. Couldn't hold himself up.
Now a very big pitch coming here. He holds off. It's a full count.
That's a great take. It's not easy to do for Joey Gallo. He sees that RBI out there, the opportunity to tie this game, excuse me, to take the lead for the Rangers. Does a good job of laying off that one.
Robinson Chirinos waiting for his opportunity. Three-two. That's ball 4. They are now loaded for Chirinos.
Man, Joey Gallo earned every bit of that walk because it was actually ball 5.
Well, here comes Scott's service again. Zepchenski a tough go. Gave up the 2-run single on the first pitch. An intentional walk to Profar. And it gives up the free pass to Gallo. So all 3 runners are his. And he's not going to have a chance to bail himself out of this one because Scott Service back into that bullpen. Bases loaded here in the 7th inning. Boy, the Rangers have been fashioning a lot of comeback wins lately. Come from behind each of their last 4 victories after just 4 comeback wins in the first 50 games this year. Last night it was that guy right there, Rougned Odor, who really delivered in the 9th.
Yeah, he certainly did. And not only was it a big spot, but against a really good pitcher. And Rougned Odor took a great approach, hit that ball the other way, gets it to the wall, clears the bases. All 3 runners come around to score. Nice moment for Rugi. He certainly has earned that. He's been grinding through some struggles, but swinging a much better bat lately. That was a big moment, and now an opportunity for another big moment. Juan Nicasio comes out of that Mariner bullpen. So the numbers for him overall, ERA a little bit high, but 28 strikeouts to just 2 walks, and so it's going to be Robinson Chirinos' turn to try to make something big happen.
Chirinos had a base hit his last time up, sneaks that one by first. Mazzara's in. Profar scores. Gallo to third on the double by Robinson Chirinos, and the Rangers back in front again at 7-5.
Back-to-back big at-bats for Robinson Chirinos. He had the single with the RBI an inning ago, and now this double, driving into getting the Rangers on top. And you see that pitch off the plate. That's a really good example of, first of all, doing your homework, having an idea what you might see from Nicasio in this situation, and not being afraid to expand your strike zone in big RBI situations. Excellent job all the way around by Robinson Chirinos.
So now the infield comes in with Guzman up there. 1 for 3 tonight. Gallo 90 feet away. Chirinos out there at second, and that one tight. Ball 1. You know, there was a stretch at the beginning of the year where the Rangers just could not buy a hit with a runner in scoring position, it seemed. Kept dropping so many tough games, and back in my mind I was thinking, well, they've got to come eventually. And maybe they're just building up an avalanche of good karma for later. And lately it seems like they've cashed in on a little bit of that. 4 runs here in the 7th inning.
Well, Ronald Guzman can get comfortable here against Nicasio, knowing he is going to see strikes. Nicasio has not walked a left-handed hitter all year. 43 plate appearances against lefties this season.
That a Guzman 1-2. One out in the inning, and it was an out that the Rangers gave Seattle, the sacrifice by Kiner Falefa. Swing and miss. And there goes Guzman. So 2 away.
It doesn't always work out. Of course, that conversation with so many people in this game about whether or not you should sacrifice bunt, but it was a good one by Kiner Falefa, putting a little bit of extra pressure on the Mariners bullpen, because that's when they started making their changes, and they've come through. Not only did those 2 runs score, but 2 more since then. So the sacrifice bunt did not get in the way of a potential big inning.
All right, Rougned Odor announced as a pinch hitter here. So he is in for Hanser Alberto, and you see 3 for 8 in this series, 3 runs last night. Juan Nicasio in out of the bullpen. 2 out, 2 men in scoring position. Odor takes high for a ball. Rugi delivered that big hit yesterday, and lately is chipped in with what has been multiple hits in most of his games lately. I think 3 of the last 5 games have been multi-hit games for him. 1-1. You know, one of the things about the big hit he had yesterday, as you look at what he has done the last 5 games, was that it was just that, you know, it was that other way kind of, I don't want to say a flare, but he wasn't looking to yank the ball down the line for a home run. And sort of that adjustment that he seems to be making, and the ability to understand that sometimes you don't have to do all of it. Just a little bit sometimes can make a big difference.
There's some good quotes today. I forgot which paper it was in, talking about the relationship between Chu and Odor, and almost a little bit of a mentorship happening there. Now, obviously, Rougned Odor is already somewhat established in his career, even though he's only 23 years old. And Chu is a guy who obviously we know about the great contact using the entire field. And so maybe trying to incorporate some of that. I don't think Rougned Odor can just turn into Shin-Soo Choo. That's asking a lot, but maybe picking up some little things. And I think kind of what you were talking about, the ability to drive the ball the other way, confident enough to take that approach, not just trying to crush the ball out of the ballpark every single time, is certainly something that would serve Odor well.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Nicasio delivers inside, 2-2. These fans are dialed in, 13,070, the announced attendance tonight here at Safeco Field. And you know, look, this team has played well, 33-21 coming into play today. Only a game back of the Houston Astros for that division lead. And these fans here locally, they're into it a little bit.
Not happy what they have seen from their bullpen the last 2 nights.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Odor strikes out to end the threat in the 7th inning, but the Rangers with a couple of huge hits. On the first pitch he saw Mazzara with a big 2-run single. Chirino Slater, first pitch he saw, and a big 2-run double. Rangers back in front.
7 thanks to a 2-run double from Robinson Chirinos. I talked to him before the game, and he told me that one of the reasons he's been able to get into a rhythm lately is he's been working with the hitting coaches on being ready for the fastball. He said he wasn't really giving himself a chance before, and that's something they've really focused on. He was fouling balls off a lot, getting to 2 strikes, and he said when you put yourself in a situation like that, it's really tough, guys. So Dave, CJ, one of the things he's focused on was just being ready for that fastball.
That's a good point, and you want to be. If you start thinking along too much with the pitcher, the opposing pitcher, sometimes that fastball can sneak by you. He did an excellent job, I thought, in that at-bat. Mentioned kind of expanding the strike zone a little bit. It was a first pitch slider, but you can't hit the slider if you're not ready for the fastball. It's good reaction from Robinson Chirinos.
Jose Leclerc takes over here in the 7th inning for the Rangers. Speaking of good fastballs. And he's also got that good off-speed stuff. 1-1 the count.
Now, Jose Leclerc on the season. This will be game number 19. He's been excellent. 123 batting average against. No home runs for Jose. The only thing that sticks out, a little bit of a struggle on those walks, 12 of those compared to the 20 strikeouts.
This one down the right field line and foul. So Haniger down in the count, 1-2. Bottom of the 7th inning, Rangers back in front again. Now the Rangers haven't had big leads in this one. In fact, this is the largest lead they have had tonight. One-two. It's fouled away. Haniger today 1 for 3. And a miss, and there's a strikeout for Leclerc, 1 away in the 7th inning.
There's that good cut changeup from Jose, and really well located below the zone. One kind of went straight down, actually, a little bit more than the cut. Just some good downward action on it.
So a big strikeout. Way to begin the 7th inning for Leclerc. And by the way, Odor does stay in the game. He's at second base. Leclerc, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Rangers. Tony Barnett came on to get the final 2 outs in the 6th inning. Nelson Cruz fouls strike 1 right back over the screen. Another good day at the plate for Nelson Cruz, 2 for 3. Final year of a 4-year deal for Cruz. And boy, has that worked out well here in Seattle. 0-2 the count. Last year, Cruz turned in big numbers once again. 39 home runs, 119 RBIs, most in the American League. It's tight. 1-2.
Jose Leclerc has thrown the ball extremely well, and take a look at what he has done here over his last 5. No earned runs in his 4 1/3 innings pitched. He's been pretty efficient what he has done as well during that time. Very clean innings for Jose for the most part.
Swing and a miss, and he gets Cruz to strike out swinging. Back-to-back Ks for Jose Leclerc.
Almost the same exact pitch below the zone. Good downward action, and Nelson Cruz swings right over the top.
So now with 2 away, brings up Ryan Healy. Healy, big, strong, right-handed hitter. He has struck out, flied out, and grounded out. And he waves and misses at strike 1. 95 miles per hour with that fastball. It's the 8th game these two teams have played head-to-head this year. Seattle has won 4 of them so far. The Rangers have won 3, including last night's come from behind win.
Think about that first game as well, a close one, that 2-1 ball game. A little bit concerned coming up here for the Rangers just because the Mariners were playing so well. As Robinson Chirinos takes that foul tip, like it might have caught him in the right shoulder. He's going to need a breather. Take a look there. Oh, no one. Right on the mask.
Every time that happens, especially with Chirinos, you have to pause for a moment. Missed basically a year because of concussion issues. He's fine. No balls, 2 strikes on Healy. Midfield back deep, straight away. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Jose Leclerc strikes out the side in order in the 7th. So the young right-hander comes in a big spot, dominates in the 7th inning. Now the Rangers take a 2-run lead to the 8th.
Rangers, if they battled back in this game, you see Nomar driving in both Delano DeShields and Shin-Soo Choo, and then Robinson Chirinos chipping in as well. He had that 2 RBI double. That was all in the 7th inning, and just a really good inning for the Texas Rangers as they put 4 runs on the board against that Mariner bullpen.
Juan Nicasio stays in the game here in the 8th. He'll have the top of the order. Shields, Chu, and Kiner Falefa. The same 3 who got it started in the 7th. Shields did it with a walk, his 3rd walk of the game. And he's jumped ahead here 2-0. So he hasn't been able to pile up the hits lately, but he'll take the walks. He had that 4-walk game against Detroit back on the 9th. And 4-walk games are fairly rare, at least for Rangers. That 4-walk game he had against Detroit was the first by a Ranger since 2009. Giving it up 2-2. He's trying to do it again here tonight if he can coax a walk in this 8th inning.
Yeah, it's not quite when you have an opportunity to hit for the cycle. That hitter knows stepping into the box, and Delano DeShields would much rather rip one in the gap than draw that 4th walk, but if we were to get to that, certainly something to be proud of, finding a way to get on base.
Fouls it away. Learn another one from Nicasio. A lot of head shakes after that one by Delano. 2-2. And that one fouled away. Yesterday, the Rangers walked 8 times as a team. It was the second time they had done that this year. And better still, they did not issue a walk in yesterday's game.
First time they had done that over 9 innings. It was the third game in which they had not allowed any walks, but the other 2 were losses, and they were losses on the road, and so they only pitched 8 innings in those games.
I pop up again, fouled over to the right side. This one will end up in the seats. Delano has fought off a number of close pitches here and shown some frustration after each of them. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Making Nicasio work to start this 8th inning. It's a full count.
Good job by Delano right there, because I think when we saw him shaking his head a little bit is because he was chasing some pitches up in the zone. He was fouling them off, but those pitches were just above the zone, most likely balls, and he did a good job of laying off that one right in the same spot.
Now the payoff. Ooh, strike 3 call. So he won't like that one. A strikeout to start the 8th inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's bring in Rick Renner again. That is pretty impressive. Thank you, Rick. Here is Chu.
Tell you what, I wasn't sure if we were going to hear from Nate Eovaldi again, going through those injury issues the last couple of years, or wondering could he ever be the same guy. It sounds like he was fantastic tonight, and understandable, as much as it's frustrating to see guys get pulled with a no-hitter. We've seen it a couple of times now over the last couple of years, but with all that he has been through with his arm injuries, that certainly makes sense.
Casio's 1-1. Chu takes wide again. 2-1 the count. Chu had a base hit in the 7th inning. He's 1 for 4. Also scored in that 7th. That base hit, he extended his streak now to 17 games in which he has reached base safely. He's also extended his hitting streak to 8. So Chu on a nice little run right now. And he swings and misses. It's a full count. Veteran hitter, 35 years old, and Chu still knows how to do it, getting on base at a 367 clip coming into play. That has always been his calling card. Apparently, a fan made a pretty nice play.
Pretty excited with the parka on and mid hat, and he either pulled a magic trick and somehow turned one baseball into 2, or that was the second foul ball that he has caught this evening.
He's excited.
He's got his Marlins man jacket on.
Inside, oh, inside corner. Chu thought that was ball 4, but he goes down looking. 2 away.
A couple of good fastballs to finish off both Delano to Shields and Chu. I think he knew it going in. Might have been sitting on something else, or that fastball just jumped on him. Either way, that is 4 straight strikeouts now for Juan Nicasio.
Yeah, weird outing for Nicasio. He came into the first pitch he delivered. Chirinos whacked it for a 2-run double to break the 5-5 tie. Since then, 2 strikeouts swinging to end that inning, and now 2 strikeouts looking to start this 8th. Now Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He takes high. 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. one. Juan Nicasio, 31 years old now, out of the Dominican. Pitch for the Rockies, the Dodgers, the Pirates, Phillies, and the Cardinals. This is his first go in the American League, and he gets Kiner Falefa to fly out to center to complete a 1-2-3 top of the 8th. All right, bottom of the 8th coming. Well, mostly the bottom of the order for the Mariners do. Seager, Zunino, and Span. What do we get back? By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. That's a scene outside Safeco tonight. Inside here, a 7-5 Rangers lead. And Alex Claudio has come in out of the bullpen.
Yeah, there's that pitch arsenal for Alex that we have seen from him. The fastball at 86 miles an hour. Lots of changeups, 38% of the time. That pitch is averaging 70. You'll see it as low as 64, though, at times. Alex does a really good job, the plus and minus on that changeup, and not afraid to throw it to left-handed hitters. Part of what makes Alex unique.
Well, first pitch swinging, and Seager rolls weakly to second base. Odor's right there, one away.
And there was a first pitch changeup. And for lefties, listen, you do your homework, you understand that there's a chance, but in general, not a pitch you're looking for, especially against a left-handed reliever, to think that you would get a changeup.
But I mean, to the point you were just making, though, I mean, this is a different left-handed reliever, and I would think that the scouting report would at least alert you to the fact that that is something.
Oh, no doubt. They know it's there, and they know he's not afraid to throw it to lefties. It doesn't make it any less annoying, though, to left-handed hitters, because you're kind of conditioned against lefties. Look for the fastball, look for the breaking ball, depending. That's what you're seeing most of, and a lot of it's high-powered stuff coming out of bullpens, and this is just a completely different look, and we have seen Alex continuously make really good hitters look foolish on that changeup.
Good example right there. Zunino was way out in front, 0-2 the count. You would think, too, just in division, as much as these teams see Claudio, that they would be a little more comfortable or expectant. How about that one at 66 miles per hour? That one had to pause to refuel on its way to the plate. Two and two the count.
And part of it too, only 85 miles an hour on the fastball, but it is that slower changeup. We just saw one previously at 66. It allows the fastball to look a lot faster, jump on hitters, and he's not afraid to throw it inside to righties, especially after a changeup.
Well, that one into left field, base hit for Zunino. In fact, it'll be extra bases. Got past Gallo and Zunino in with a double. Even that one, it looked like Zunino waited as long as humanly possible and still barely able to hold back.
Yeah, he went out there and hooked it. As you see, he was still out front a little bit, but balance good enough, hands back enough to get something behind this baseball. We've talked about this a lot with Alex. When we've seen him run into trouble, it is usually right-handed hitters going the other way, trying to hit the ball to right field. Not too often that we see him hit his spots and then get pulled to left field by right-handed hitters.
Zunino's second double of the night, and Denard Span fouls off a strike. Span has a hit tonight in 3 tries. 8th place hitter. Falefa in on the edge of the grass at third base. Span pulls it foul in the count 0-2.
So take a look at this with Alex. You mentioned as far as the division and seeing those hitters much more frequently. That has been a little bit of an issue. American League West with that higher ERA so far against Alex. And the Houston Astros did a little bit of damage against him early in the season, but he's crushed it against the rest of the league, and you can split it right in half. 13 games against the division, 13 games out of the division.
Ooh, that one a beauty in there, called third strike, and Span is the second out of the inning.
It's a really good example of, you may know the scouting report, but you just don't see 68-mile-an-hour changeups up in the zone very often. And when you're facing Alex Claudio, almost everything is going to be down. Rarely does he elevate on purpose, and he really didn't even elevate intentionally there, but that's a place where he can get away with some pitches, because when you're locked in, you're thinking about that slider down, you're thinking about the changeup down, the fastball down. I mean, he lives for the most part at the knees and down. Right there is where Alex Claudio makes his living. And you say, well, how do you miss it? A pitch at 68 miles an hour that's basically, you know, belt high or even above that. Just completely locked up Denard Span.
Trying to stop. Apparently did. 2-0. You know those numbers we were just showing, the 13 games in division, high ERA, 13 games out of the division, very low earned run average. The knee jerk is to say, well, it's familiarity. But I think that's really skewed because he was a little off early in the year. They've done some work to get his delivery and release point and everything back to where he's more effective. Fly ball deep to center. The Shields racing back, and he'll make the play.
Wow.
Lost his footing on the warning track, and that one sliced back on him. But with Delano's speed, able to get back there and make a spectacular play.
What a great play by Delano to Shields. Long way to go. It got turned around just a little bit at the end, maybe as that ball was coming back. But the concentration outstanding, and Alex Claudio says thank you very much. inning, and the way that 8th inning ended, take a look at this. Delino DeShields, long way to run. That ball was high in the air. Looked like it might have had a chance off the bat, and right in the middle of the warning track, Delino makes a fantastic play. Watch him right here, almost overran this ball to great speed. That's a nice look at it from the side. And there's Alex Claudio, certainly relieved as he saw Gordon Beckham get a good swing and a big exhale. Dear diary, you should have seen what I did in Seattle. I made a fantastic play in a huge spot in the 8th inning. And Alex Claudio said thank you afterwards.
And then Chasen Bradford came in.
I'd admit that, Chapter. I don't think that one matters as much.
You don't think the Bradford appearance? I don't know. He's on for the 18th time for Seattle. We saw him yesterday. Of course, we've seen just about everybody in this game from yesterday as well. As that one finds outside corner for a strike to Nomar Mazara. Bradford pitched yesterday. Zipchinski, Cook. Yeah, we've seen quite the repeat. Altavilla. Won the count. Boy, Maz had such a big hit in the 7th inning. It made the change, brought in Zipchinski with runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. First pitch he saw from Zipchinski, right back up the middle for a base hit. This one up the middle for a base hit. In fact, slices away from Heredia just a little bit. And so Mazara with another multi-hit game. 2 for 4 with a walk, 2 runs scored.
It's the quality of the at-bats that really stick out as well. As we talk about this with Nomar Mazara, quiet, quick to the ball, line drives. He's got power to all fields. Right now, one of the toughest outs in this Ranger lineup. We talked a lot about the work that Chu has done lately. But certainly the consistency of Nomar Mazara has been pretty special this year.
Now Profar, who's reached the last 3 times he's been up, and he rips it down the first. What a grab by Healy for the double play. Oh man, that was a rocket. And then Healy just stepped on the base to double off Mazara.
Nothing you can do about this. This ball is absolutely ripped. And the only reason that Ryan Healy had a chance to catch this ball is because he was holding Nomar Mazara on after his base hit. Almost a little self-defense on the part of Ryan Healy. Wow.
I would love to know how long that ball was in the air. Well,
0.8.
You think almost a full second? It's a swing and a miss by Gallo. I say that as if I have any clue how long it was.
I don't know. It's my stopwatch on my iPhone. I'll get that number for you.
I mean, somebody's got to be able to do that. Well, this is somewhat scientific. We're told 16 frames, which is like about half a second. That's amazing. Win 2-1 to Joey Gallo.
It sounded louder than 107 off the bat, didn't it? I mean, 107 is still impressive.
Yeah. It sort of seemed like an explosion of sorts. That was wild. Gallo hits his ball hard and high and deep in the air to left. And that one got spanned, all turned around, and it bounces up into the Rangers bullpen out there. And that will be a double.
We saw Joey Gallo struggle with the ball earlier in this game, where it looked like it would have been a routine fly out, and this ball was hit hard and had some bend to it. Watch Denard Span, the veteran outfielder, just misread that ball. Kept kind of spinning away from him, and he realizes the mistake that he made. Called even. Now, Span did not hit that ball. Was it Kyle Seager that hit the ball, right? That got away from Joey, bounced in. Yeah, that was back in the 2nd inning. Joey will take it.
It's now Chirinos. takes off the plate, and now a quick conversation for Chase and Bradford. Looked like the guys in the bullpen completely nonplussed.
Yeah, not interested at all.
Just, well, whatever.
Here's what happens. Sometimes you get locked into some conversations down there. You get into this part of the game. All right, there's Jake Beekman. See, Jesse Chavez is talking about it. Chris Martin seems interested. You know that Kella's coming in, close it out, so you start to take a little bit of a mental break. And see a tune out, you're certainly paying attention. There's an opportunity there to have other conversations as well. It's a lot of time you spend down there. A lot of time.
Two away, Gallo at second base. Tight. Ball 2 on Chirinos. Well, the Rangers up by 2.
There's the other part of that bullpen. I've always liked coming to Seattle as a visiting player, but they're pretty friendly here. Those fans right on top of you. If they weren't as friendly as they are here in Seattle, it could make it a little bit miserable for you when you're warming up. But over the years, they were generally kind.
Yeah, that looks, I didn't realize.
And Kella's right now on the pitching rubber that's closer to the field. There's actually another pitching rubber that's closer to where that police officer is. Yeah. You can reach up and grab some popcorn or sip that lady's Pepsi if you want while you're getting ready. That's how close they are. But there used to be a full fence there. Now it's open a little bit more.
3-1. Hard. One hopper. Shortstop. Segura struggled with it. And that one is in. Chirinos safe at first. And they score that a base hit.
Ball was smoked by Robinson Chirinos. He certainly has earned that hit. He's done a nice job here now over the last couple of days. It's a 3-hit night for Robinson Chirinos, but he just looks locked in. The swing looks really comfortable right now. Good for Robinson.
Looked like your son Luke's swing over there on that little field downtown. Guzman takes inside for a ball. All we need is for somebody to fall asleep out there at second base.
Found ourselves a nice little field to spend some time at here, about a mile or so from the hotel. And it's not just for athletes, that's a public park.
1-0, and Guzman, that's a strike. 1-1. Well, 3 hits in the inning, but a line drive double play, to this point anyway, has made this a scoreless top of the ninth. Guzman trying to change that. And a hole here, 1-2.
Think about the swings this inning for the Rangers, right? You had the Nomar Mazar base hit. You had the rocket line out from Jurickson Profar turned into a double play. Joey Gallo, it was a deep fly ball that probably should have been caught, but it was still hit pretty well. And then you had Chirinos rip that ball to shortstop. The Rangers right now locked in offensively.
Strike 3 called on Guzman. He's not happy about it. Inning is done. No runs on 3 hits. And Keone Kela coming on here to try and finish this off in the ninth. The ninth inning to try and save this thing for the Rangers. He pitched yesterday, finished it off, but not a save spot yesterday.
He's been great in save situations. You see the pitch arsenal for Kela this year. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. The curveball has been sitting at 84 miles per hour. It's been a good year. Very comfortable right now in these situations. It's kind of what it seems like Kela has been built for, and waiting for this opportunity for him to really take command of the closer position, and he has right now for Jeff Bannister.
He goes right after Segura with some heat there at 98 miles per hour. Segura, Heredia, Haniger. In this ninth inning, to the top of the order. Rangers with a 2-run lead. Ooh, finds the inside corner at 97, 0-2 the count. Gets a little reaction from the locals here in Seattle. Kela played high school ball at Chief Celta International High School in the state of Washington, and he gets a strikeout of Segura. One away.
Well, that's the filthiness right there of Kela. Pretty unbelievable. Watch, it's fastball, and then look at the tight spin on this breaking ball. And Gene Segura is a really good hitter, and he just took a really ugly swing against that breaking ball from the Rangers closer.
So one away, and here is Ben Gamble. Up and away off of Chirinos' glove. Gamble hitting for Heredia. Heredia was 0 for 4, and Gamble takes a strike. It's 1-1. So the numbers for Gamble: 1 for 4 in the series. Not getting to play every day these days. A swing and a strike two. 1-2. The count to him. Haniger waiting on deck. A little tapper foul. So Kela, who spent some time here in Seattle, All-State, All-Metro League in high school, was drafted by Seattle in the 29th round, 2011. One-two. He wanted it high. He gave it to him high. That'll even the count. I've never heard of Chief Celta, especially it's spelled S-E-A-L-T-H. A lot of those towns around this area that you look at them and you wouldn't even know where to start on how to pronounce them.
That's what I count on you for.
Yeah.
You're the brains of the operation, Dave Raymond.
Well, Logan Sitkin helping us out here today in the press box, able to chime in with a little help on that one. Hey, listen, we consult every resource we possibly can. 2-2, and this one is ripped into right field. So Gamble is aboard, and he's going to race to second base and hold there with a one-out double.
Fifth double of the season for Ben Gamble, and gets himself a breaking ball that stays up in the zone a little bit, puts a good swing on it from the left side of the batter's box, and kind of wondered if there would be a shot at a triple, but when you're down by 2 in the 9th inning, you take no unnecessary chances, and so he stays at second base. And for Kela, that is a run that does not matter. The focus is your hitter at the plate right now, because you got a pretty tough one in Mitch Haniger.
So brings a potential tying run to the plate. Haniger 1 for 4. Big swing and a miss. Haniger 0 for 2 in his career against Kella coming into this series. Kelly got him yesterday. A little comebackers who make it 0 for 3. Hits this ball on the ground, second base. Odor bobbles, throws to first in time, and they get Haniger 2 away. Ooh. Meanwhile, Gamble gets to third base.
Good recovery by Rougned Odor. Had to go to his left a little bit, and that ball was hit pretty firmly. Remember, Odor came in as a pinch hitter in this game. That was back in the 7th inning. So he's only been out there for a couple of innings of defense and does what he has to do to complete that play. Ball was hit hard.
Right now, Nelson Cruz, and this is a matchup that has favored Cruz heavily. Dangerous matchup for Kella. He delivers low with ball 1. We got Cruz yesterday to fly out to right field, so now you see the numbers. 4 for 7 with a home run against Keone. Now back, it's 1-1. All right, tomorrow, pregame will start at 8:30 Central Time. Our Ford Probables, Mike Minor makes his 11th start, looking for his 5th win of the year. And Wade LeBlanc, who's appeared in 10 games, he'll have the ball tomorrow for Seattle. A couple of left-handers. Somebody's been pretty good this year. High pop-up, foul, and out of play. 1-2. Kella trying to lock this one down for his 12th save of the year. Also trying to even the season series between these two teams. Breaking ball misses in, 2-2.
Yeah, that breaking ball right there backed up a little bit on Kella. Now he has thrown his fastball so far here to Nelson Cruz at 98 and 99 miles per hour, and there's been a couple of breaking balls. That one stayed up in the zone, so he's got a decision to make here. You try to end this at bat in the 2-2 count. Whichever pitch he is most confident throwing a quality strike here is where you go. Either the fastball or the curveball will work if properly located.
2-2. And he went with the curveball. We'll do it again.
So often, you know, when something doesn't go right or guy gets a hit or whatever it may be, people talk about pitch selection, but more often than not, it's about pitch location. And when you have the very simple repertoire that Kella has, and their 2 power pitches in the fastball and the breaking ball, it's not about selection as much as it is about execution.
Time asked for by Chirinos. Mariners have Ben Gamble at third base. Got on with a 1-out double. Moved up on the Haniger ground out. The Mariners have the bat in the hands of the guy they want at the plate right here in Cruz. The 2-2 pitch. And a soft liner off of Odor's glove and into right field. That's a base hit. So Gamble scores. And now the tying run on base here in the 9th inning.
It sounded like a shattered bat. Let's take a look here. Trying to go away, and that one gets in on Nelson Cruz, and the bat did indeed break. And just out of the reach of Rougned Odor, who gave it everything he had.
So the inning will continue. Cruz lifted for a pinch runner. Andrew Romine over there at first. And here is Ryan Healy. Double by Gamble, the single by Cruz. Mariners have climbed to within 1. Fastball misses low, 2-0. It's another matchup where the numbers have favored Ryan Healy. Now, not a lot of head-to-head encounters, but Healy with 3 walks, 2 for 3 against him coming into this series. And Kellett looked like he's got a strong idea what he wants to do.
Yeah, Robinson Chirinos just wanted to make sure he got a message across about the game plan here, whether you talk about, do you want to give in, do you like the curveball over the fastball, whatever it may be. Part of that game plan that Robinson Chirinos just wants to confirm with Kellett at this point, wants to make sure that whatever they decide, they do it with conviction. Everybody's on the same page.
Rangers got 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning to take the lead. Now in the last of the 9th, Kellett, a little bit of trouble. This 2-0 pitch. There's a swing and a bouncer. Third base. Kiner Falefa with time. And he throws out Healy. This one is over, and the Rangers hold on and win 7-6 here in Seattle.
That's like the perfect meeting by Robinson Chirinos and Doug Brocail. Whatever they said, bottle it, sell it. Good job. And, of course, we've talked about this a lot with Kiner Falefa doing a nice job fielding at easy hop and throwing it over to Ronald Guzman. But a really nice win here, and it's been a good series so far for the Rangers in Seattle against a good team. A 1-run win for them. We've talked about the Mariners, how good they have been in those spots, but the bullpen very good for the Rangers once again. The offense coming up big in big spots, and so they find themselves victorious once again. That man right there, Robinson Chirinos, continues to suddenly be swinging a hot bat. He really did look locked in offensively this evening, and in this game he had the RBI single in the 6th. He had the RBI double in the 7th, and then he had a very comfortable looking swing as well in the 9th. It was a 3-hit night for Robinson Chirinos, 3 RBIs in the process, and so he did a really nice job at the plate. He did a really nice job with the pitching staff this evening, and overall just a really good job here by the Texas Rangers against a Seattle Mariners club that was playing very, very well coming into this series.
Now, let's not forget, too, Matt Moore, 5 1/3 today in this one. But it was Tony Barnett who got the win. Big game for Chirinos and the Rangers. And Robbie standing by right now with Leslie McCaslin.
Thanks, guys. Well, Robbie, first of all, we want to know, what did you say to Keone there?
Just trying to slow him down. I mean, I tell him, like, we're just 1 pitch away. Relax, let's throw fastball down away. And, I mean, he did, and we got that W tonight.
You had 3 hits, including the go-ahead 2-run double. How comfortable are you at the plate right now?
I'm getting there. We talked before the game today, and I told you I've been working really hard to be consistent in the play, to be ready to hit, and I feel I did that tonight, and that's what I have to do game today.
You guys gave up those 3 runs in the 4th, and then you missed an opportunity with the bases loaded in the 5th, but you kept battling back. Is that the makeup of this team right now?
Yeah, that's in the 4th, that was my fault. I should have catched those 2 balls. Well, this team, they never give up. I mean, the guys been working really hard. They've been going pitch by pitch when we hit, the same when we're pitching, and it's fun to watch.
Great game. Thank you. Of course, just like a veteran, guys, blaming himself. Back to you.
Yeah, cool and comfortable, man. He did a great job today, and the Rangers get the win. Rick Renner, Mark McLemore, David Murphy standing by. They'll have all the player reaction and breakdown from this one. For CJ Nitkowski and Leslie McCaslin, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Still a lot more fun to come after this Rangers win in Seattle.